First of all, Ernest, I would like to start out by giving a shout out to FYF Sports Debates Podcast. I really love that podcast. I really do.
FYF Sports, y'all, man. Salute, man. Appreciate everybody, man. We back. Got a quick little 2-hour show for you guys today. And you know, a lot of stuff to talk about. And we're gonna cover some topics, man. Salute, man. Everybody in the chat, man. Salute One Cool P, one of the top moderators of the platform. Sports on the Side Live, man. Darren Hampton, Double E, another big time supporter of the channel. Ricky E245, another big time supporter, man. Definitely appreciate you guys pulling up. Swish highlights, man. Appreciate you guys pulling up today. Think we have a really good topic for you guys today, even though it's gonna be shorter. Probably, I just got to restrict this to 2 hours because I got some things I got to get to. But I definitely wanted to make sure I went live about this. Jared says, because he says the narratives about him are straight BS. I mean, here's the problem, you guys. So I believe that just because we are YouTubers, it does not mean that we don't have a responsibility to be somewhat truthful. Right? Because as YouTubers, with some platforms being bigger or smaller than others, there's really no real responsibility to reporting or speaking real truths, right? We see people especially on YouTube, on different ends of spectrums when it comes to talking sports. And I think when you're talking about a player, some of the stars of the game, and it don't matter what sport we're talking about. When you're talking about the stars of the game, and in the NBA, when we're talking about somebody by the name of LeBron James, this is in this era with YouTube, with so many people covering sports, with so many people having their own say. So when you got so many types of aggregate media, from Clutch Points to Bleacher Report to Yard Barker, all these, and then you have your standard media outlets like the ESPNs and the Fox Newses, who have to be a tinge more accurate. You got everybody having their own say so in certain things. But I think there is a level of integrity that comes into this right here. Obviously, we can have our far-fetched takes sometimes. Sometimes we can sensationalize things sometimes to add to entertainment value. But I think when it gets to the point where on a day in and day out basis, you have certain people, certain YouTubers, certain talking heads on these platforms coming out every day as if they have one agenda. And that's just to convince everybody that this particular player or this particular athlete is what you think of them. And it don't have nothing to do with real facts. It don't have nothing to do with real takes. It's just pushing fake news, fake narratives. And the only reason most people continue to push this fake news and these fake narratives because there's nobody behind them. There's no threats of real lawsuits. Like, they don't have a big enough platform where people will really care. And they can push these types of narratives without fear of any type of penalties or repercussions. They can say things widely flagrant. They can cuss out these players. They can make accusations about players, parents, and all these things. You can say all these things without repercussion, right? Cancel culture has affected mainstream media, but I don't believe that cancel culture has really trickled down into the sports and YouTube sector when you're talking about smaller YouTube platforms of people talking. And then you're talking about people talking. You're talking about, and when we talk about people who mention some of these things, there's a lot of people who say these things on other platforms. So when you're allowing people on your own platform, and what happens is there's no repercussion for them. You know, if I bring somebody up on the panel, they can say something wildly flagrant and false. There's no repercussions for them to say those things. They could just say it, and then we just have to either try to counter it with the truths that we have. There's a ton of things that you can debate in NBA basketball, you guys. Right? There's a ton of things. If you do want to go down the road of criticizing a player like LeBron James, there are a ton of things that you can criticize that are more so based out of fact. But again, when you start pushing aggregate media talking points that are clearly fake, right? That clearly go against this so-called Black appreciation or Black people standing up for each other. Because if y'all really think about it, y'all, the same people that push these overtly negative talking points about players, these are the same people that are going to tell you that Stephen A. Smith is a coon. These are the same people that are going to tell you that. The people on mainstream media, when they talk about these players, they coons, right? They bad for the Black community. But it's cool for them to do it, and not just do it to such an exaggerated degree, and then do it on a daily basis. And so some of you guys was listening in. I was talking to Mr. Mosh yesterday on Showtime's channel, and Showtime had the title of the video, something talking about this secret beef between LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And so the first thing I thought to myself when I saw the title of the video was, okay, if it's a secret beef between LeBron and Anthony Davis, then how do you know the secret? One. So if it's secret, how do you know it's secret? Right? How did you figure out this secret? One. Right? If there was a secret beef with Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, how do you guys know this secret? Who let the cat out of the bag to you guys? Right? Who gave you the inside scoop for you to break it to the people? And then what lends to your credibility to even say these things? That's number one. So when I see that the people pushing these talking points have absolutely zero credibility in any basketball circles, but yet you pushing it as if you were in on some type of secret and you pushing it as fact, well then now you're intentionally pushing fake narratives and fake news just because you don't like a certain player. There's no tinge of truth to it. There's no sources saying these things, right? I don't see how people connect Anthony Davis potentially being on the trade block with some type of secret beef with LeBron James when Anthony Davis clearly came out himself and said, you guys know me and LeBron's relationship. There's been a multitude of times where players come out and let you guys know half of the stuff y'all hear, if more than half of the things you hear about what's going on is false. It's lies. We laugh at it. It's made up. KD has said these things. Kyrie said these things. So that is the number one thing right there. So that's where it started with. Then I pulled up, and as I listened, because remember, I didn't just pull up, I actually listened. And so for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, Mr. Moss was on the panel, just really talking about how LeBron James was a bad leader because the Lakers struggled last year. He's a bad leader because the Lakers have been struggling this year. He's a bad leader because they claim that he wants to trade Anthony Davis. They failed to do it. So he's a bad leader because he couldn't get along with Russell Westbrook, as if they really had a bad relationship and things like that. But then you just reel off all these tangents about him being a bad leader, but none of it connects back to any real facts. He's not a bad leader because of bad body language, things that we can witness on the floor. He's not a bad leader because you see him sitting separate from everybody else on the bench looking frustrated. He's not a bad leader because he came out in an overtime period with no energy because of a bad missed call. No, not because of the things that could potentially be factual. Oh, he's a bad leader because of all of the things that you guys have completely made up in your brains. And when I pulled up on the panel, I said, so my first question was, are there multiple ways to lead? Yes, everybody agreed. Yeah, you can lead multitude of ways. Okay, if you can lead a multitude of ways. Okay, so then they correlated LeBron James being a bad leader. That's why he's 4-6 in the final. Okay, so then I said, okay, if he's 4-6 in the final, okay, that means you're going to have to go through each of his finals losses and tell me what specifically he did wrong as a leader that caused that loss. And do you connect bad leadership with teams losing in the NBA finals? Mr. Moss quickly said, well, no, just because you lose in the NBA finals doesn't mean you're a bad leader. But with LeBron James, that's the case. Okay, if that's the case with LeBron James, well, let's think. Okay, so when they lost to the Spurs, when LeBron James made it to the championship the first time, explain to me how he was a bad leader. Well, he wasn't a bad leader in that year. Okay, so I scratched my head. Okay, they say in 2018 he was a bad leader, but I'm thinking 2018. You're talking about when they was playing in the Kevin Durant led Warriors, the super team of all super teams, and it's just, where y'all getting these talking points from? I said, where are y'all getting these talking from? Now you're correlating leadership. Now you're trying to take away one of the attributes that's made LeBron James great, and you're trying to take it away because you're trying to tie it into his losing record in the finals. So it seems like everybody that has something, everybody that pushes these negative talking points about LeBron James, they try to tie every potential flaw that they can think of to him being 4-6 in the finals. He's a bad leader. That's why he's 4-6 in the finals. Yet you don't have one example of him being a bad leader that's based out of facts and reality. None of them. And so that's when I said, okay, you're telling the people, you're telling the masses that he's a bad leader. But I said, there's a whole bunch of reputable sources, former players that you guys claim that he traded away, who all have, after the fact, still sat back and said, LeBron James was the best thing that ever happened to my career. LeBron James is one of the best leaders I've ever seen. Jared Dudley came out and specifically said LeBron James's leadership is unmatched. He said he's never seen nothing like it. When you go to even his coach, Eric Spoelstra, because Mr. Moss he brought up some situation in Miami where he said LeBron James bumped into Eric Spoelstra and they were going at it over there, and that was signs of being a bad leader. But then you have Eric Spoelstra, who even gave his opinions on LeBron James's leadership. All right. When Eric Spoelstra even says that LeBron James as a leader is unmatched, and that was reported on ESPN. Right. It says Spoelstra lauded LeBron James for his leadership and ability to focus despite the intense media scrutiny that followed in that 2011 season. He said he's been a lightning rod. He's done a very good job of compartmentalizing all things and becoming the leader of our team. Right? Even Spoelstra understood that he was a leader, even with the finals loss in 2011. Right? Other coaches, right? People, a lot of people try to talk about all these coaches that LeBron James hired, quit on, fired, whatnot. But what did Ty Lue say about LeBron James? Right? He says, I think just with LeBron being the leader of the team, he says, I don't think he thinks he can take games off because, with guys being hurt, going through a rough patch and new guys coming in, he said, I think he's trying to lead by example, right? Even Tyronn Lue, in doing an interview with ESPN, talked about LeBron James's great leadership. And then we can go to the video, right? We can go to the video. And, after I play this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to allow people to come in and cook on this. And whether you believe he's been an excellent leader throughout his career, or if you one of those that believe that there's a whole bunch of things that have led you to believe he's not a great leader, you can come in and explain your case. But what I like to do is I'm not gonna. And one of the people that actually spoke on LeBron James's leadership, he actually speaks about it to this degree. It's hard for me to truly judge him as a leader, especially during tough times, especially during years like last year and this year, when we don't see what's going on in and out the locker room. When I was talking to Mr. Moss said LeBron James is a bad leader because he didn't force Anthony Davis to get in the gym over the summer. Remember when Anthony Davis said that he took 3 months off without touching the basketball to recover from injuries, right? Probably take time away from the game, get his mind right. And when Anthony Davis made that statement, that he took time off, Mr. Moss used that to say, oh, LeBron was a bad leader because of that. He should have got Anthony Davis in the gym to do all this X, Y, and Z work. That's what he said. And it's just like, did you forget about all the examples of LeBron? And when players say LeBron got everybody in the weight room, got the guys, it's crazy. We're just going to play some of these. We're just going to play some of the testimonials from players, right? Because if we going to stick to the facts, we're going to really deal in facts. Because the one thing I was asking Mr. Miles multiple times, and he's supposed to be pulling up today. Hopefully he pulls up. The one thing I kept asking was, I was like, what facts are supporting the things that you're saying about his leadership? Do you have anything? Do you have any facts to support what you're saying? If you're going to take away one of LeBron James's best attributes, right? This is an attribute that's been given to him by great coaches and great players. If you're going to take it away, then what examples are you going to provide? I got my examples as to why he might be a great leader, and it's going to start with the testimony of other players who've actually played with them, played against them, coaches who coached with them, coached against them, players who've had beefs with them. It's odd that all of these people tend to say the same things about LeBron James. Let me share my screen real here. We're gonna play this real quick. We're gonna get to it. Because I keep telling you, I deal in facts, y'all. And Mr. Moss, that's one thing he kept saying. He's like, Lamont, you lying. I'm like, I'm lying. I'm like, Mr. Moss, you're struggling to provide the facts, man. We provide facts, man. So I said that, I'm going to take it light because it seems like every time I make a spoof video on somebody, especially people who tend to be on the LeBron James hate sector, they get overly emotional about it. And they get to crying and they get to trying to say I attacked them and all this and So I'm going to treat Mr. Moss with kid gloves. I could have hit him with an epic spoof video. I could have, did a whole bunch of things to make it creative and funny. I said, no, we're going to treat him with kid gloves on this one. We're going to give him a 2-hour live. We're going to give him an opportunity to pull up. We're going to educate him today. We're going to see if us not going down the route of a max ether has a more positive effect on these guys. Maybe they don't come back so emotional after they get hit with all the facts, man. Oh, hold on. Let me do this real quick. I didn't put the sound in. Sorry about that, y'all. All right, here we go right here.
Watch Peyton be great. He wasn't like Jordan, but he held people accountable for everything they did. I would assume LeBron's the same type of player.
Yeah, he definitely holds you accountable. But one thing about Bron, he leads by example with his work ethic. He gives. I think that's the biggest. And his biggest attribute is being able to pull people along with his work ethic. Like he doesn't mind going to the gym and grabbing me, Kev, Tristan, RJ, Channing, Shump, Kyrie, like literally hand by hand, like, all right, come on, we're going to the gym, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're going to go as a team, we go eat, we're going here to do this. Like he's so very, I mean, obviously it's easier for the better players to do it, but for my existence, Jordan didn't do it, Kobe didn't do it. A lot of players that quote unquote had that quote unquote killer mentality aren't that type of person to do it. And he doesn't, I wouldn't say he's not a scorer. So a scorer is like a person who has a one-track mind to do one individual thing. That's like a sniper. I'm out here to snipe people and pluck people off, and that's it. Jordan and Kobe and those dudes, they did play defense, but they were scorers. Those guys, they're going to put up 50, 60, 70 points a night. When you get somebody who's so well-rounded with rebounding, scoring, passing, dribbling, a good teammate, it's totally different. It's a totally different atmosphere. He's a totally different person than those guys. So when people compare him, it's just like there's no comparison because you can't.
Hey, y'all, we got Ancient Warriors in the chat, man. And he says, LeBron ain't no leader. He says, y'all be on his nutsack too much. All right. Hey, if he's not a leader, the only thing I ask Ancient Warrior is when I drop the link, just pull up and explain to us why he's not a leader. See, you just one of them people that get mad when I show you other NBA players who've not just watched LeBron. These are guys that have battled against LeBron. Matt Barnes is not the biggest fan. If you ever heard him talk about LeBron James, he's not a LeBron James fan. And yet he's up here admitting that his past sentiments about LeBron were wrong. And he's explaining that to you. You heard what J.R. Smith said. J.R. Smith played against LeBron and with him. And we got more to come. So it's not us. Remember, we not even saying nothing. You said y'all. Y'all said y'all. How is it us and this NBA player saying it? Right? The NBA players are saying it. Because the last time I checked, you wasn't telling 90s fans that they was on, or 90s players that they was on Jordan's nutsack when they was calling them Jesus. See what I'm saying? And so if you're not willing to do that, and so he says J.R. Smith is Clutch Sports client. Okay, is Matt Barnes Clutch? Are any of the rest of the people Clutch? Is Ty Lue Clutch? Is Eric Spoelstra Clutch? So if it's just about being Clutch Sports, then why do I have examples of people outside of Clutch? What's your excuse? Y'all going that Clutch excuse is gonna run dry. It's already low-level basketball talk to blame Clutch Sports. But that runs dry when you start seeing other people that ain't in Clutch. Let me keep playing this.
Not to do it. He's found a way to do it his entire career, and that's just what it is.
With. He says his goal. One, I'm gonna do it because I'm on a LeBron James team. Let's keep it 100 right now. Like you're on that team, and you see that man and him being a professional, like you're gonna fall in line because it's a certain excellent standards, and you don't want to let somebody down that cares so much about winning and this. Like you want to be part of that too, right or wrong. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, I don't, I always feel a certain type of way. I did feel.
Hey, Ancient Warriors, you know basketball? All right, here, I got something for you, Ancient. Here we go right here. Because obviously Mr. Maz ain't here. Hey, y'all. Nobody else clicked this link but Ancient Warriors. Now, I'm almost positive Ancient Warriors is going to be, he's probably either going to be washing dishes, he's going to be either cleaning his shoestrings, or he's going to be in some type of mysterious conference call. Just as the reason why he can't click the link and pull up. So the link is there for Ancient Warrior because he says he knows basketball. I love to learn from people that know basketball. The link is for Ancient Warrior to come teach us basketball. We're going to leave that link there. I'm going to continue to play the video until Ancient Warrior pulls up. I don't believe he's going to pull up. He's going, like I said, he's going to be doing one of a number of different things, but it ain't going to be clicking the link and pulling up.
Certain type of way. I'm at peace now. I don't care. You didn't win. You didn't do this. I was the third leading scorer on an NBA championship team.
Absolutely.
How many people saying that? Not many.
Not many.
But granted, me being selfless and having no ego in that situation, because it couldn't have been easy. I could have just ran with the excuse, they didn't give me a fair shot and I didn't do this and I do that. But if you know me and you know me personally, I'd tell you that was the best thing that ever happened to me in my career. I was a player that all I looked, like you said it first, I was looking to score. I was to get a bucket, do this, that. But I didn't do shit else. Didn't want to defend. Didn't really put too much effort in rebound, even though I was a really good rebounder in college. Didn't always make the right pass, tunnel vision. But going through that situation, that made me a better basketball player. And everybody in the world saw that last year. I was doing everything. You know what I mean? So I always look at things from a positive standpoint because there's no point to dwell on shit. There's no point. And that was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me in my career. Like just being in that situation, Lakers keeping me realizing, there's more to basketball than just this. And then ultimately winning a championship with the Lakers.
Go more towards his greatness. I think until you've spent time around him, like how serious he takes his craft and how much work he puts into it every single day. I think it's one thing to get to the top. It's another thing to stay there. Like I think what makes him great, his greatest attribute is his ability to do it again tomorrow. Like his ability to recover in mind, body, and spirit on a day-to-day basis it's out of this world. Like it's unbelievable. I remember one game we played Utah. I think it was 1 or 2 overtimes. And the next morning he was in there. I came in early to get some treatment and he was on the Versa climber, in his, spandex, no shirt on, like, busting out 30 minutes on the Versa climber saying, I got to get ready for the playoffs. Like, I think his level of dedication to his body and his craft, I think people just see how big and strong he is. And, like Michael Jordan, he had to take a break in the middle after 3. And I'm not here to debate Michael and LeBron, but like, it's a lot to be not just putting in the time, but to take the scrutiny that he does. It's like he deflects it on appearance so easily. It's I walk away from those years. It's one thing when you're playing against them, it's easy to get hater narratives in your head. But then when you're with him and you see his dedication to his craft, you see what he puts into it every single day. He is literally the first person there and the last person to leave.
Yeah, y'all hear what he said? That's how you know he's being honest. He says when you playing against him, when you going against him, when he's not with your team, it's easy to get those hater narratives in your head. And he's basically saying he had some of those hater narratives in his head until he teamed up with them and he saw a different side of things. And this is what I was trying to explain to Mr. Moss. You looking from your television only tells about 3% of the story. You reading Bleacher Report probably only gives you about 1% of the story. And then for you to summarize The very little you know about these teams and what goes on inside the locker rooms, what coaches are saying, what roles, what are the coaches delegating to each player, how are the coaches asking the LeBron James of the league? Eric Spoelstra, he specifically talked about in his interview with ESPN, he talked about how when LeBron James came in that first year in Miami, he says LeBron James came in as that Tim Duncan type of leader with the leadership style. Basically, if the best player falls in line and just falls under coach, then everybody else is going to fall under coach. And ultimately, Eric Spoelstra said he had to go approach LeBron and say, look, I understand what you're trying to do, but I need you to lead in a different way. I need you to be more of a vocal leader. And what did they do that next year? LeBron James evolved his leadership style and became a different type of leader, as Eric Spoelstra explained. Right? This is what we mean by you can be various types of leaders and have success. LeBron was trying to lead that team when he first got to Miami in a way that he felt best. He didn't want to come in and just be the alpha right out the gate with so many good players. Remember, this team had already won a championship. He didn't want to just come in and try to change everything and make everybody fall in line with him. Remember, these are the narratives that the LeBron James haters push. They'll say that he came in, that everybody was running the LeBron James system and everybody was doing it LeBron's way. Eric Spoelstra said the complete opposite. And he said, I had to ask him to be a different type of leader that next year. This is what this team is going to need. And that's what he did. Come on, y'all. I told y'all when y'all start getting the facts, man, then these fake narratives just start sounding crazy. And people like Ancient Warrior, who he already said he's sitting in the security booth at the old people home. You know, I'm sure they won't mind if you hit the link and talk for about 10 minutes. Come on, man.
Every single day, and he's LeBron James, and he's been to the finals so many times in a row. He's been MVP, all those things. Like it's to me, that is his greatest achievement. Is just showing his ability to keep going, to mentally stay focused, to do the work that he has to do to be who he is.
When we had DeMar on.
Yeah, that's something that I talked with a bunch of people in interviews this year about. Was, you know, they wanted to know what it was like to be his teammate and all this, and I was like trying to give them information. I was like, well, I was on two-way for the first year that he was here, so I wasn't even with him most of the time. But I'm usually in the building, you know, on whatever day of the week because I'm with the South Bay team and the NBA team. So every day I was there, I saw him there, and he was there before everybody else. You know, that's like one of the crazy things that people talk about is like how we're like the Michael Jordans, the Kobe.
That's three players so far. Three different teams that have all said first one in, last one out. This is now it's starting to be a consistent theme. Separate interviews. What's the consistent theme? Isn't being the first one in, last one out, isn't that a form of leadership? We heard J.R. Smith talked about how he got guys. Come on in this weight room. Let's get this work in. Kyle Korver talking about he come in early in the morning. LeBron already in a full sweat on the Versa climber. And you got Alex Caruso here as a two-way player. He's coming in early to get some work in. Who's already in the gym putting in work? LeBron James, man. That's ain't that a form of leadership? Right? Doesn't that go against the narrative that Mr. Moss was trying to push, that LeBron ain't getting guys, right, in the weight room? Come on, y'all.
The LeBron James, like how are all these guys so good, and yet they continue to get better and they continue to dominate year after year? And it's the work, man, the work. And that's one thing I think from him that is rubbed off on me the most is the work ethic. It's just like it's literally your job to go lift weights or play basketball or get recovery. It's like you get paid very, very handsomely to do all this stuff. It's like, well, just do something every day. You know, do something every day and you're going to get better over time. And those couple days that somebody misses or something like that, they end up passing them up. And in their case, they're already like 3 or 4 steps ahead of them. So now when they don't take the off days and the other people do, now they're just, you know, light years ahead.
I think the hardest thing in the world is sustained excellence. And I don't know if it was Tom Brady or Aaron.
There we have it right there. Look, y'all, I'm about to go ahead and just get this link in. I want to see what y'all got to say about this because I see a lot of people. And remember, let's allow, before y'all fill the panel up, let's allow a few minutes for the people that disagree, for the people that still adamantly believe LeBron James is a bad leader. And he's the ultimate reason. He's the number one reason why he has 6 losses in the finals. There were no other factors. There's no other context involved. It was his bad leadership that caused it. The reason why the Lakers are so bad, the reason why the Lakers are so bad last year and this year struggling this year is because of LeBron James' leadership, right? You even heard Elder saying yesterday, right before Mr. Moss took over, oh, LeBron James, he started off the year chucking up shots. He was a bad leader. These are the narratives that they push. It's just so funny how all of a sudden, it's so funny how all of a sudden in the year when LeBron is about to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, now every time he has a good game, it's not that he has a good game. It's that he's shot chucking to pass up Kareem. It's shot chucking to get to the record faster. That's what it is. Yet when we listen to actual players talk, they say that the only thing he cares about is winning. So who do we deem as credible? And that's ultimately what it comes down to. Who's credible? These random people talking on YouTube that are looking from a television set and that are referencing everything they say only from aggregate media websites with absolute no credible sources to back the things that they say? Or do we listen to the players that are giving these interviews talking about it? Because, and you know, just like Mr. Ma said, you have examples of players like Eddie House who said in 2011 LeBron was a bad leader. But see, what he fails to tell you is that Eddie House further doubled down on him evolving into being a great leader after 2011, right? It's still consistent. It's still consistent. All right, we got Saxon here, man. We got Devin here, man. Salute to y'all pulling up to the stream, man.
Salute. What's up, guys?
Look, I'm trying to give the people that disagree an opportunity to pull up. I'm doing my best to try to allow these people to pull up and like at least put a little opposition to the things that we saying, and it just ain't happening for whatever reason. It ain't happening.
No.
Ancient warrior said he's at work, as I predicted.
You predicted right. Got it all right.
Mr. Mize, obviously, Mr. Mize said he was going to be busy today. He said he was going to try to get here, but he hasn't got here yet. I don't know if he'll be able to get here on time, so we'll have to see. But I think, why do y'all think the LeBron James haters are now trying to nitpick at the attributes LeBron James, the attributes that we all know he possesses, but they're trying to nitpick at him to try to make them seem like they're not as great as what people say they are. And especially in this year. Let me go to Dev. Dev was here first, man. Salute, Dev, man. What you got?
Salute everybody else. So in my opinion, I feel like it goes from this narrative because we all watch, I don't know if we all watched the last days of Kobe. It's this narrative that you gotta be a hard-nosed, stone-nosed killer. This mentality, you gotta be like a butthole to your teammates, this, that. If you don't take your last shot, that mentality, because people see that form of leadership and like they roll with it. If you're not on your players, you're not getting your teammates, you don't care about the game. And people don't understand. I feel like people don't understand there's different styles of leadership, and even coaches. Not every coach is a hard-nosed, stern coach. Even back then, some coaches were lighthearted, some coaches are X and O's. And I think it's narrative because they see Jordan did it his way and won 6 championships, but LeBron also been very successful in his leadership. He went to 10 straight finals. Yes, he may not have won them all, but in order to go to 10 straight, you got to be a great leader and dedicated to the game. And I don't know why people fail to ignore that. And same thing with Kobe's Mamba mentality. sometimes it didn't lead to the best shot, best wins. LeBron plays at a high IQ level, and it just, and not only that, I'm gonna use an example of Shaq. When they said taking care of your body, being first one in and out. A lot of people said Shaq kind of underperformed, will have more. He would have took care of his body better and did this, but no one gets on Shaq leadership when him and Kobe was beefing and all that stuff. So it's like people don't hold that same standard to every player, and it just doesn't make sense to me because every time we talk about leadership, they talk about Jordan, Kobe, and Magic, but they don't acknowledge LeBron's leadership. Or Bill Russell, they don't acknowledge anybody else's leadership or handle it to the same standard. So that's what my opinion is.
Salute, man. Appreciate that. Let me get to Sax. Sax was in here, man. Sax, what you got on this?
Hey, can y'all hear me or is it too much background noise?
No, you good.
All right, cool. I disagreed. I agree that like there's a difference between being a league leader and a team leader. I don't think he's a very great team leader because of his mannerisms. You know, the way he comes across after every loss, he's sulking. After every foul, he's acting crazy. He doesn't have the mental toughness to be a great leader, in my opinion. And that's my take on it.
I may ask you a question to follow that up on. So in that respect, because I don't mind if you have that opinion, but does that then mean that LeBron and Jordan also were not very good leaders because they stayed on the refs, and none of those guys like losing. Both of those guys sulked when they lost. None of those guys loved to lose. When they lost, they let it be known that they didn't like losing, and they weren't the best losers. And when you talk about players like Isaiah Thomas, this man walked off the court without shaking people's hands in the loss. Does that mean he's not a good leader because and sulking in the loss, right? So if you're gonna give that to LeBron, if you're gonna give that attribute to LeBron because of those things, then there are going to be a ton of players that you're going to also have to reevaluate. A ton of players that everybody also considers great leaders. Isaiah Thomas is looked at as a great leader. Kobe's looked at as a great leader. Jordan's looked at as a great leader. That means you're going to have to go back and reanalyze how you look at those guys as leaders. They did those same things. Are you willing to pull their leadership card as well?
Well, another point that you got to look at is how the how his teammates evolved, like after playing with him. With Jordan, pretty much everybody he played with had a job for a long period of time. With LeBron, it's the same, but I see Jordan having a bigger impact than what Jordan did.
So let me ask. I think just when we look to this last All-Star game, I saw a guy by the name of Julius Randle, who I think when he played with the Lakers, not a lot of people thought he would be an All-Star. He's an All-Star. And when you look at D'Angelo Russell, he's still a pretty good player. When you look at Kyle Kuzma, who just talked about on that video how when he was with the Lakers, he had tunnel vision. He was not a very good player. Playing with LeBron James, he was able to learn the other aspects of the game. And when he moved on to Washington, he's had two of the best years of his career because he said he learned all of the other elements of the game from LeBron James. So when you say these players, look at Jordan Clarkson, who's still thriving. So just like we can pinpoint guys that have not had a ton of success after LeBron, there's also another handful of guys who had a ton of success after LeBron. And I think for the most part, the guys that are struggling were usually either older players or guys that were close to being out the league as it was. He said somebody has background feed. I think that's Sax. Hold on. Is that Sax? Somebody has. Hold on. Let me know if the feed goes away because hopefully it's not my mic. I don't believe it's my mic. But I think let me get to DJ. DJ, what's good, man?
What's good, Lamont? Salute, bro. For one, LeBron came into the league as an 18-year-old out of high school, so you're not gonna be a leader automatically coming out of high school. For one, two, like once he did learn how to lead, people got to realize like he didn't have a Hall of Fame coach his first stint in Cleveland. He's never had one in his career, but his first stint in Cleveland, he didn't have another all-star or a veteran to help him learn how to lead. He had to learn how to do that on his own. Like, you don't go deep in playoff runs and, beat the Pistons from down 2-0, score 25 straight. You don't go to 10 finals without being a leader. That just doesn't make any sense, bro. Like, so when people say, "Oh, he's not a leader," so what does going to 8 straight finals mean? Like, do people realize Kobe was tired after going to 3? That's what I hear. He was tired after going to 3. So how do you think LeBron felt after going to 8 straight? But it doesn't take leadership to go to 8 straight. Like, come on, bro. They just got to stop these narratives, man. Like, I don't understand it. I really don't. And even Kyrie wanted to leave him, right? What has Kyrie done since he left LeBron? And what did he do pre-LeBron, right? Like, he really made Kyrie a Hall of Fame player. Like, let's just call that what it is. He made Kevin Love a Hall of Fame player. We gonna call that what it is. Like, we just got to start telling the truth, bro. Like, even Anthony Davis, like, is he a top 75 player without that ring with LeBron? I mean, you can answer that if you want to, Lamont, but me personally, I don't believe it. That's just me. That's my opinion. But
I think he still is.
Like, but we just gotta stop, man. Like, to me, like, I've never seen like I said before, like, I've never seen anybody take lesser players and just take them to the finals and help them elevate their games. Like, even despite injuries, bro, he didn't have Kyrie and Kevin Love during that finals run. So who was leading the team at that time? I need to know. So like I say, like, people always gonna have their fake narratives and all that stuff, but I mean, we know the truth, man. So that's my take on that.
Hello?
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
But yeah, that's my take, man.
I think things are funny with words. There's like a leader. You can be a good player and not a leader. You can get to the finals 10 times and not be a leader.
All right, hold on. Is that Stanley talking?
No, that was
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't been entered yet, bro. I'm sorry.
All right, hold on. Let me go ahead and get to you then, Stanley. You just pulled up, man. What you got on this, man?
Yeah, well, you guys talking about leadership and the other players when they left. I think it's an attribute not only to LeBron and his skill set, how to work with players and know their strengths, but you can't negate the coaching staff. Jason Kidd, Phil Handy, those guys had integral parts in developing those guys, as well as Ty Lue when he was with LeBron. But LeBron has a different type of leadership. He's not a vocal, in your face type guy. He's more of a guy that you just follow his actions. He's not really in your face like a Kobe was in your face or Garnett was in your face. So, but I think he is a good leader. And like I said, everybody doesn't accept that type of leadership, as some guys like to in the face. The same that goes through with why Nate McMillan didn't get along with Trae Young. Trae Young is a new school player, whereas opposed to Nate McMillan's an old school coach, and that doesn't work for everybody. Just like the Popovich way, but LeBron is a good leader, man. It's just certain players, thrive with him, and some players don't. So that's what I say. He's a good leader in the way that he does.
But the thing is, and this is why I think people say LeBron has evolved as a leader, because Iman Shumpert gave he broke down a situation where when he played in Cleveland with LeBron, he says during that point in time in LeBron's career, he was more of the in your face type of leader, like the more of the get in your face when you mess up, yell at you, take the ball and do it himself, like that more Jordan, Kobe type of style that people like to try to big up, that killer instinct style. That's how Iman Shumpert initially had described LeBron's leadership, but then he said over time, as LeBron got older and got smarter and understood, if you're trying to build out a championship team, that's not the best way to get across, to get through to all of your teammates. He said he started to watch him change, but there was a point in time when he did lead in that particular manner, especially early in his career. Maybe he was trying to mimic the Kobe's and the Jordans, and then maybe he learned this ain't working the way I thought, especially when we don't have a Hall of Fame coach to back me up on some of these things. And so maybe you have to lead in a different way. So this is why they say he evolved as a leader too, and he led different ways. Let me get to Jay. Jay, what's good, man? What you got on
Yo,
this?
what's up, man? I mean, I get what y'all saying, man, but to me, I don't consider him the GOAT, man. I just don't. I don't even think he's in my top 3 personally, you know, because it's just too much.
But I
It's
don't
really just too
think
much.
nobody up here said he was the GOAT.
But I mean, as far as his leader skills, I mean, sometimes he leads well, sometimes he don't. I mean, you know, he has had some times where he has quit at certain times. You know what I'm saying? And that to me isn't a good leader. You know, like not shaking hands. You know, leaving the court early against the Phoenix Suns in 2021. I think, you know, it's not good, bro.
And again, I think when you go off of those small sample sizes where you target moments in their career where you don't think they lived up to being a great leader, you can do that with Jordan against the Pistons. A lot of the critics say he quit. With Kobe in 04, a lot of the critics, a lot of the media say he quit. With LeBron, there are moments in his career where critics and the media from the outside looking in will say he quit. The problem with all 3 of those examples is that when you ask players about those same situations, none of the players say he quit. That's the problem with it. So that narrative, none of those narratives with any of those players, whether you want to say it about Jordan, Kobe, or LeBron, none of it has been supported by player testimonials. And that's where I say people are running with fake news, because the media is going to create narratives for stories. To create a narrative that Kobe quit, that's going to be a good storyline. People going to read it. And the same thing with social media. And somebody got some like tapping noise in their background. And if you can mute yourself, because I'm hearing some noise from people in the back. I'll just do it. I'll take care of it. Yeah, I think that was coming from Jay. But so Scorpion X says LeBron quit against Boston. And again, Scorpion X, you say this player quit against Boston. See, the problem when y'all say these players quit, all I got to do is go to the box score. The box score never supports this, right? With any of these players, people say Kobe quit in 04. The box score don't support that. People say Jordan quit against the Pistons. The box score don't support that, right? People say LeBron quit. The box score never supports that, right? Y'all got to stop confusing having a bad game with quitting, right? I think right here, Kobe quit versus the Suns. I think that might be the best example because Kobe himself admitted that he stopped taking shots. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to define Kobe as not a great leader because of that one moment. So I don't know why people are trying to take individual moments for LeBron's entire 20-year career and say this is the moment that takes away all of his leadership for a whole 20 years. That don't make sense to me. I don't know why we expect these players to have a flawless 20-year career where they're flawless as leaders across the board for all these years. And if the only thing that takes away their leadership is one bad moment, well, then that means no player in NBA history is going to be a great leader because they all got bad moments. Let me drop this link in there for Pootie. Hey, come back in here, Ralph. I saw you in here. I was just about to let you in.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lamar. It's like they're just individual moments, and people don't ignore the whole degree of. They'll take this one moment out of a 10-year span or 20-year span, and you can't just do that because these are high-level competitive guys. None of these guys like to lose, so I'm not surprised when I don't think that's quitting. Like the Phoenix Suns, I think that's passion because like I'm use I know I don't really, I'm using football analogy. And Tom Brady, whenever Tom Brady gets mad at him, he said, "Oh, that's the passion, this, that." But when Cam Newton does the same thing, he's childish, bad leader, and I don't like that narrative because it's passion for one player and not for the other. Because these guys are high level competitors, athletes. All these guys, none of you guys like if you've been in sports, no one like to lose, especially these high level guys. These guys are ultra competitive. So when they lose in the moment, and people don't understand that's in the moment. You just lost a playoff game. You're not gonna, you're gonna feel some type of way in the moment when you calm down later. And I don't think people realize, just don't, really think about it and like put yourself in perspective. If you're in a playoff game or NBA finals and you lose, you're not gonna be all cheerful. You're gonna feel some type of way, then you're gonna calm down, then you'll shake hands and all that stuff later. So that's my take on that.
That's facts. Hey, Pootie, what you got on this, Pootie? Is LeBron James a great leader to you, man?
Somewhat. I would say somewhat.
I mean, there's no somewhat. Either you are or you aren't.
I said somewhat, and that's something that, I'm going to stay on. Because, yeah, he has his moments where he led, but he also had his moments where he couldn't lead.
Okay. I mean, what I'm saying is you're trying to bail yourself out. Is for the most part, for the majority of his career, what has he shown to you? Good leadership or bad leadership? What if you had to pick one side to stand on, which one is it? Because I don't think you can be both.
There's really no specific side when it comes to that.
Okay, so what are some examples of his good leadership that you've seen?
For example, I would say good was like when he led the Cavs to that 3-1 comeback against the Warriors. He did that. I will give him credit for that.
Yeah, but winning games is not leadership. That's just winning games. Bad players can win games. Teams with bad chemistry can win games. Allen Iverson took a team to the NBA Finals. I don't know if he would be considered a great leader, right? There's a lot of players that aren't great leaders that can win games. So winning games, I don't believe correlates to. That's what I was trying to tell Showtime. Not Showtime, but Mr. Moss. Mr. Moss kept saying he's 4-6 in the finals. That means he's a bad leader. You're trying to correlate two things that don't go together. And so him winning it, that coming back from 3-1, that's a great accomplishment. Has absolutely nothing to do with leadership. Right now, if you can tell me that you saw film of him galvanizing the troops behind the scenes, right? Giving his team additional motivation. Look, let's take this one game at a time, making sure his guys didn't get too down on being down 3-1 and they stayed locked in and invested in the series.
I've seen him do that.
That might be examples of leadership, but just coming back and winning, I don't know if that's leadership. I watched LeBron score 51 on the Warriors. And when that game went to overtime, LeBron James was not a very good leader. When he had bad body language, he was still down on his guys for kind of blowing it, like J.R. Smith. That was a moment. I don't define him off that moment, but that's a moment where he played good, but he still showed signs of bad leadership. That still doesn't define him to me. For the most part, I believe he's been a great leader. And I think there's more good moments than bad.
But can I give you an example of bad leadership though?
No, we know there's examples of both with any NBA player. I'm saying, what is your overall consensus of LeBron? Do you look at him as an overall great leader or an overall bad leader? Just giving us examples of either side is easy because anybody can go read, go watch games, go look it up on Google. But what's the overall consensus?
I think the overall consensus on that is like the bad kind of edges out the good just as much.
Okay, so if to you the bad edges out the good, now give me your reasons as to why you feel the bad edges out the good.
The reason why I say the bad edges out the good, because he has his moments, but Boston 2010 was a prime example of quitting on your team after everything is said and done. Like another example would be the 2014 finals after getting, gentleman sweats instead of you trying to run it
But
back again.
but
You go to
Pootie, the
Cleveland.
problem is that the overall consensus. Do your can you give, so if you added up every playoff series that LeBron James displayed good or bad leadership in, are you going to be able to walk away after you do your tally and say, I have more examples of bad leadership than good leadership?
I can honestly stand on that, yeah.
Because he's had a ton of successes in his career. And I just ran off a video of 4 former teammates and or competitors who all talked about him being a great leader. And on top of the fact, I got 2 coaches, Ty Lue and Eric Spoelstra, who also confirmed he's a great leader. And they coached him on 2 different teams. Frank Vogel's talked about this as well. Mike Brown has talked about him being a great leader as well. So my question to you, if you say he's a bad leader, why does that go against what actual players and coaches are saying? What are you seeing that these players and coaches who actually been in locker rooms, what are you seeing that they ain't catching on to?
Listen, bro, opinions are going to differ, whether we like it or not. So,
no, I'm just saying I don't mind your take. I just want to know what lends your take credibility when I got some of the best coaches in the game: Eric Spoelstra, Ty Lue, Mike Brown. I got players: Amon Shumpert, J.R. Smith, Alex Caruso, Kuzma, a guy that a lot of people say LeBron traded. I got a ton of examples from players who all say he's a great leader. And then even when you go to a player like Eddie House, who said there was in 2011, I don't feel he was a great leader, but then he says, I feel after from that point forward, he evolved into one of the best leaders. You have Jared Dudley, who came out with a statement and said, LeBron's leadership from all my time in the NBA has been unmatched. I'm getting examples from actual NBA players that have been in those locker rooms, that have listened in on conversations that we aren't privy to, that have been on the court in some of those huddles, things that we aren't privy to. They saying he a great leader. What is lending your statement credibility for you to say on a platform like this that you don't think LeBron James is a great leader? What are you basing it on other than your feelings?
it's not all my feelings. That's just fact.
So you connect losing games with being a bad leader?
Not exactly.
Okay, so what about that Boston series, other than them losing, if they even lost? What about that series led you to believe LeBron James was a bad leader?
The eye test shows, things in that nature, such as pouting, not shaking players' hands.
Hey, Lamont, when you get a chance, I wanted to comment.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I think Pootie's struggling with this one. Go ahead, Stanley.
I think I think the lines are being blurred, man, by talking about emotions in a game as opposed to leadership. we all get emotional when we losing or things aren't going our way in the game. So when to say a guy quit because he threw his headband or he walked down the aisle because they're losing, I think we're not talking about leadership. But all players are emotional if they have any kind of stake in the game, and I think that's where it's coming. So I mean, Kobe to me didn't quit in that game in '04. Kobe was trying to prove a point. They said he was a gunner and he didn't include his teammates. So he said, okay, fine, I'll pass the ball off to these dudes and see if they can score. And they couldn't prove that they scored. So he did that on that stage to show that he's not a gunner. But just to say that a guy, because he got frustrated or angry, he's not a good leader, I don't think that's what we're talking about. We're just talking about, can he galvanize and motivate players to be their best on the biggest stage in the game? And that's what we're trying to say. Is LeBron that guy? Yes, for certain players he has been. For certain players he hasn't been. For Kobe, yes, he has. For Jordan, yes, he has. Tim Duncan, yes. Can you motivate a player and get success with your teams? I think that's the question that we're missing, not emotions when the game is lost or you're going behind. I mean, we all have seen that happen with NBA players from at least my time, from watching them back in the '70s to this present day.
Just to piggyback off what you were saying about that, we don't talk about this enough, but in 2018, we have to take into account that the Cavs going into the playoffs, they were the second worst defensive team going into the playoffs. Yet somehow LeBron and Ty Lue and the rest of those guys were able to still get galvanized and still make a trip at the NBA Finals. This team had the 29th ranked defense in the league at the time, and they still went on to the NBA Finals. If that's not galvanizing the troops to get the absolute best out of them, to play better defensively, hit shots when they need to, all while your best player is going off, I don't see how that's bad leadership. I don't see it.
When he yelled at J.R. Smith, was that not bad leadership?
No,
hold on.
that's supposed to do.
When
Say it again.
When he
in the
yelled
finals,
at J.R. Smith, was that not bad leadership?
No, yelling at a player.
no.
Yelling at
Yelling at a player is holding that
Jordan
player
would have done the
accountable.
same thing.
No.
He was telling JR, you made a mistake, man. Did you not know what the clock said?
It was
That's
after
an
the
honest
fact.
question.
I think it was after the fact where I felt like he could have been a better leader in going back into that overtime, leading with better body language and not giving that look of being defeated. Now,
That's all I'm trying to say.
But at the end of the day, that's punching at the
That's
low
emotion.
fruit. And what I'm saying is when you start throwing out these incidents, those individual incidents that all great players have, all great players will have a moment like that. Kobe's had his moments. Jordan's had his moments like that. We can all go pick at and just try to use to say he's not a great leader. I'm talking about the overall consensus. Is this what LeBron James always does? Is he always a bad leader? Is he always showing bad body language? Is he always not listening to the coach? Is he always on the bench soaking? I don't believe that's the case. And there's no player that's actually come out and support anything to that degree. Like, come on. Yeah, but I think that's what happens with LeBron. People nitpick on his bad games and his flaws so much that you forget this man has been in the league 20 years. And he has a 20-year resume. If the only thing you can give me is 1 or 2 games, then that means the consensus is that he's a good leader. Because Pootie said he can give me more examples of bad leadership than good. I don't believe he can do that. I believe he will be very hard pressed to do that. I don't know if he's watched enough LeBron James basketball to even come close to doing that. Like you would struggle. You would struggle with that. Mightily.
I don't know how. I mean, this is my generation and I watch LeBron. So.
I know. And you would struggle with that. But I know you would struggle with that. There's at the end of the day, there's just too many coaches and players who come out, who've been in those locker rooms, who've been in those huddles, who actually hear what's being said. Because sometimes LeBron James might sit at the end of the bench and put a towel over his head. But just like we saw how they flipped and mixed and mashed up that thing with Russell Westbrook and tried to make it seem like Russell Westbrook wasn't a part of the huddle, we know that TV can play tricks with these edits and convince you that Russ isn't a part of the huddle when we know when he was sitting there with Anthony Davis laughing about it, and they were talking about, look how TV diced this up and made it seem like you wasn't with us. So again, what you see in these quick clip cuts, they don't give you a full context of what's going on. They don't even show you the full timeouts. What if LeBron James was in the huddle? After they talked, he's just sitting off to the side, just getting his mind together, something he normally does. Maybe he's just getting a sip of Gatorade, taking his spot at the end of the bench like he normally does. To you, it might look like he's separating himself from the team. You didn't even see the full timeout. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You only see about 10 seconds of the timeout over on the huddle, and that's what you get. These timeouts is 1, 2, 3 minutes at a time. The camera don't stay on them the whole time.
Hey,
and that's
Pootie,
the tricky part of it.
Hey, Pootie, I got a question to ask you, bro.
Yo.
So when the media and everybody is absolutely killing and destroying Westbrook, I'm not even going back to this season. I'm going back to last season, and LeBron puts out a text that says, "Keep that same energy." Would you consider that good leadership for defending your teammate?
At the moment, yeah. At the moment.
No, but the thing is, though, we've never heard in any interview. Listen, if you can bring up any interview of LeBron James slandering his teammates, like slandering specific teammates, whether it's Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, J.R. Smith, D. Wade, AD, Westbrook, If you can bring up one interview of him calling out people's names, saying, yo, they are slacking. I don't like what X amount of this is doing, like slandering them, then I could agree with you that LeBron overall would not be a good leader. I wouldn't consider that good leadership qualities. But if it's just a general statement of him just being emotional or just being out there in the games, that's just a part of it. Like, you can't tell these players to just pretty much conceal your emotion at all times. No, Jordan, he was a very very emotional basketball player because he was hyper competitive. Same with Kobe. Any all-time great that you consider in the top 10, they are considered ultra competitive and they take the game extremely serious. So when they get upset, which we've seen in the past with other players, I mean, it shouldn't be different for LeBron. That's all I'm saying.
Can I follow up with a question with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is punching a teammate good leadership?
That's what I wanted to know.
Not exactly.
Back in those times, like,
not exactly.
Right now,
Not exactly.
Hey, if you got a lot of stuff, commotion going on in your background, people talking, you got to mute that if you can, or get to a quieter area because I'm hearing too much background noise, y'all.
Well, it depends. Do you think that Draymond
Who's he referring to? Who is he referring to as far as the punch?
So when Mike punched the team, when he punched Steve Kerr, was that good leadership?
Not exactly.
Yo.
For that time, it worked back then. It wouldn't work now. It clearly doesn't work now.
So punching a teammate is good leadership, bro?
No, I'm not. No, but listen.
Not exactly.
Listen. I've been in the practice facility. I've had practice to a point where games do get, or practice games, they do.
But I'll tell you one thing though. Mm-hmm. It made him a little bit of a better player. I'll tell you that.
What? I mean, I don't know.
So that's the only way you can get a player to be better is by punching them, bro.
No. It's not the only way.
Okay, hold up.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Whoever's defending punching a teammate, you ain't never been in a locker room in your life, man.
Exactly.
Bro.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Hold on. I guarantee you, coaches love to see their players be extremely competitive and sometimes get in each other's face.
Yes.
But it should never cross the line of you throwing blows. Coaches hate that. And that's extremely bad leadership right there. When you get to throwing blows and putting your hands on people, that's when you cross the line. Why do you think Phil Jackson immediately threw Jordan out of practice?
Because Jordan was wrong that day.
That's wrong, period.
But Jordan showed signs of being a bad leader that day. That does not mean Jordan is a bad leader. I can't use that moment or the moments when he was picking on Horace Grant or the moments when he was picking on Scott Burrell. I can't use those individual moments to say for the course of his 15-year career, he was a bad leader because there's too many moments where he showcased being a great leader. All of these players have individual moments you can nitpick on. So that's why I say if people like Pootie, if you're going to nitpick those bad moments over the course of his 20-year career, then I think you're not putting all of the good in context with the bad. There's far more good leadership than bad in LeBron's case. Same with Kobe and Jordan. They all going to have bad moments, though. None of them are perfect players. Y'all want them to be perfect. And I think y'all be holding LeBron James to a standard that you don't want to hold your favorite player to.
Or ourselves, Lamont. You know what I'm saying? We all got, black eyes on certain parts of our life that we like to look back on. But what's the most things that people rise to? Those bad things and your good things, even if it's a minimum amount. And that's just the status of life. But you should never put your hands on another player. That's not good leadership. Draymond Green, to this day, I still say the whole team should have came to Poole's rescue and did something in that practice. That was crazy.
Yeah, that's facts. Right.
Because
you punching the teammate in the face. That you got liability of getting the locker room split. Now some guys gonna want to be with this guy, and now some guys gonna want to be with the other guy. You got all type of risk stuff that's gonna mess up the team from doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's
great though.
That's why Golden State still ain't gonna go nowhere.
Them younger players on Golden State probably was riding for Jordan Poole. They felt like Draymond probably been bullying and doing all this for a long while. The older players probably feel like, well, that's just a good leadership style. He's been doing that since we've been here. We've been winning. So that type of stuff can split the locker room, can split the organization.
Oh, no doubt.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
it seems like you're picking on a certain player. Because when Draymond punched Kevon Looney or someone that's like, what Draymond had punched, or like Jordan, what Jordan had punched Horace Grant. It's kind of like you're
He
picking.
wasn't.
It's like you're
You know,
picking
you
and
know,
choosing.
Draymond ain't finna put his hands on Steph Curry.
If
Yeah.
we're
And the
No,
being
he
whole
not.
Bay, and
Oh
the
no,
No, he
he'd
whole
be.
not.
Bay Area
Oh, he'd be out of there.
get on them.
if we're being 100% honest,
He would
I
get
don't think
traded.
Draymond ever wants smoke like that. 'Cause let's be real, Tristan Thompson got into his face. I think it was in the offseason. It was at some club, and like nothing happened. Draymond didn't do anything. So I think it's just specific dudes that he knows he can go after, and you know, kind of take advantage.
Hey, Lamont, do you consider off the court stuff to be part of leadership too? Don't you tell
It
your players
depends.
what you need to be
It
doing?
depends. Like, I don't consider that little confrontation with Tristan that like certain stuff is not basketball related. Certain stuff is. When you're talking about on the court, your mannerisms in the locker room, how you work out. Like when you listen to what them players talked about, when they talked about LeBron's leadership, none of them, most of them didn't even speak on what was going on the court. Because LeBron's going to be great on the court. Even bad leaders are going to be great on the court. They were talking about a lot of the things that they saw LeBron James being a great leader off the court, saying, when I got into the gym, LeBron was already here working out. He's the first one in, last one out, right? And when they talking about he's getting the guys early into into the preseason workouts and things, getting them all into workouts and whatnot. That everything that these players talked about had more so to do behind the scenes, access that we don't get to see, things that we don't get to experience. All we see is the end result of all of the good leadership. We only see the end result. And we know it was good leadership because the man went to 8 straight NBA finals. You don't make 8 straight NBA finals being a bad leader because you won't be able to have that type of consistency or chemistry or team bonding to be that good for that long. That's why I know he has to be a good leader, because it'd be impossible to do that for that long as a bad leader.
Well, do that for this long and not have no off the court stuff going on that can sway the team. You know what I mean? Because you look at Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn, and everybody gonna take away his leadership because of the off the court stuff that he did, which was causing distractions for the team. The media coming in asking questions about this and that when it's not even related to basketball. So I feel like off the court stuff plays a lot too. And you can say LeBron has never really had no problems off the court. He never had no issues where the tabloids in his face about him doing this and doing that, and the players got to answer these questions about in front of the media before the game about off the court antics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's going on, Lamont?
What up, Lee? What you got on this, Lee?
It's just a bunch of trash. It's just a bunch of trash. Just some of the things people say when it comes to leadership. One, for me, is not measurable. So that's number one. Number two, some things are measurable, some things aren't. But when it comes to whether it's LeBron, MJ, Larry Bird, whatever player you want to use, it comes to that term quit. I mean, first of all, they didn't just quit during the middle of the game. They didn't just walk off the court. That's number one. Number two, the box score, the stat sheet, the metrics, all of the numbers, all the statistics, the testimonials from players, current players, former teammates, coaches, former coaches. They don't support LeBron quitting or MJ quitting or any of that stuff. So I'm not going to sit here and just validate what a fan has to say. I mean, no disrespect to the panel, but I'm gonna go with what the people who've been there and done that, especially in the locker rooms, have to say. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act as if my eye test holds more weight, holds more validity, holds more credibility than the players who are in the locker room. So, I mean, Lamont, you mentioned Eddie House earlier. I mean, people may look at Eddie House as a player who is just a journeyman or just an okay player, but he has more credibility than all of us put together when it comes to the locker rooms he's been on. So until I hear anything of any reports of LeBron or any other player doing something specific in terms of his mannerisms, characteristics, behaviors, whatever terminology you want to use that could be detrimental to the team, it just goes back to what I said earlier. Trash. Somebody earlier, well, the way LeBron lost, not shaking hands. Do you know 1988, when the Celtics lost to the Pistons, Larry Bird didn't shake hands, but no one brings that up. No one brought that up in this discussion. So there's been plenty of great players who walked out of court or not walked out of court or just didn't shake. Now, was the spotlight probably on LeBron more than some of those other players? Absolutely. I get it. I understand. But at the end of the day, it's just that this eye test jargon is just that from the worst in all the sports, basketball community. It's just trash. So I just wanted to go ahead and say that, Lamont.
Hey, we got Lee. Khalil, what's good, Khalil? What you got on this?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yes, sir.
Salute to you, bro, for having a clean panel today. It's refreshing to hear.
Thank you, Lamont, for that.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's just more ways to denigrate LeBron James. At the end of the day, the man just became the all-time leading scorer, and people don't want to see him, relish from that. They want to see him down. Like, I'm hearing people blame LeBron for this past weekend's dunk contest not being a success.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So it's like anything that they can do, they'll nitpick and find ways to denigrate him. At this point, LeBron, this is all just icing on the cake for him. To me, his legacy is already submitted. I've always been an avid LeBron James, me being from Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised. Me knowing about LeBron when he was actually a football player before he even played basketball. I was, had the privilege to watch everything that he did. The man is the consummate professional. He married his high school sweetheart. He funded a school who a lot of people now saying is, oh, well, it's not all his money. Like, who the fuck invests money? I'm sorry. Who invests money who invests in something with all of their own money?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just show you how a lot of these dudes never own nothing outside of their cell phone. The guy put his friends in position to become millionaires and prosperous in the world. He a family man. He around his kids a lot. He a family oriented person. Like, he about as wholesome as a black man can get in America. Yet you got black men every day jumping from panel to panel, figuring out ways to denigrate him every single day. Like, I don't see Asian people arguing over who the best fighter between Jackie Chan and Jet Li and having real arguments to the point where they putting their addresses all on social media. Like, I don't see all this from other races of people. It's only black people, black men specifically. We the only ones that do this. And when you get people that's racist, they can now hide behind what a lot of these black men say about LeBron or our great athletes. I'm a boxing fan. I've seen this with Floyd Mayweather. A lot of people will denigrate him. And you get all these racist folks, they can hide behind somebody black and use that as a way to say that they're not racist. Like, it's just all BS, man. Like, we can't even enjoy our athletes. You got people saying that he on steroids. You know what I'm saying? They can't allow black men to be great. Our genetics are better than any other races of people on this planet. But yet this man, they say that this man is using steroids. They want to allow him to be great and show black dominance. Like, it's just sad. And you got one of them sitting up here named Pootie. He one of them. I can't stand him.
One of what?
He's one of
One
them.
of
You
what?
one of them.
Call
You
me
one
out.
of the ones.
One of
You
what?
one of the ones. Shut up
One
and
of
let me
what?
finish
You
talking.
sad.
Hold on,
Nah,
Pootie.
bro, you
Hold
gonna call
Pootie.
me out. You gonna call me out.
Pootie, let him finish. You can respond as
soon
soon as he's done, Pootie. You can respond as
Like,
soon
I
as he's done.
saw when Bane hit the channel how you was sitting on your hands when Bane came in here. You ain't want no smoke. You a sucker. And you one of the main ones that do this. Like, you get on panel to panel, denigrate LeBron James, and then you come in here and try to act as if you was supporting him the whole time when you don't hear a bunch of slander against him. Like, you two-faced it. You a little snake in the grass, bro. Like, you one of the ones that do that. You, SFM, like, a lot of y'all do this. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
a lot of y'all
Khalil.
do
Khalil. I heard them say LeBron sacrificed Kobe.
Idiots.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Wait, man, this gotta stop, bro. Like, this going too far for real.
Hold on, we got to let Pootie respond though, because Khalil did call him out. Let me let Pootie. If Pootie wants to defend himself, I don't know if he has much leg to stand on, but
Man,
go ahead.
please. All right.
Go
I'm
ahead,
going
Pootie.
to listen.
Don't type hate stuff, man.
Listen, don't nobody hate.
Hold on,
Y'all
guys. Somebody
see?
has noise in their background.
Sure.
That's Pootie.
Is that Pootie with the noise in his
Yeah.
background?
No, it's not. No, it's not. So
His
shut
mic,
up, Khalil.
every time you unmute your mic, it sound like that. You
All right,
little
hold on.
bum.
The sound went away now. Go ahead, Pootie.
Whatever. To address this bronze sexual, Khalil, listen,
LeBron
right?
sexual.
I don't
Listen
hate
to him.
LeBron James. I do not hate this man. If he does some BS, I'm gonna call him out on it. That's just how I feel. That's how a lot of people of us feel. Why did you have to bring race into it? It don't matter about race. If LeBron is being attacked from the right, I will defend that man. I will. But I'm judging him based off on the court stuff. See,
So
y'all
Laura,
bisexuals get so
Ingram,
Hold on, you gotta let
Laura
him finish,
Ingram ain't
Khalil.
from the
in y'all
right.
feelings.
Laura Ingram
Y'all,
not from the right. And why does everybody that root for LeBron got to be homosexual? Little boy, I done been with more women than you can imagine. It ain't nothing
what
gay
does that
about
guy
me.
do? And see,
So don't ever
he's getting
disrespect
emotional.
me.
He's
Hold on,
getting
don't ever
emotional.
disrespect. For one, don't ever disrespect me by calling me no damn Bron sexual.
You
Because
are. You're emotional
saw
right
me,
now. You're
if you
emotional.
saw me in person, I would literally beat you down to the
If you
fucking
saw me in
ground.
person, I would boom you.
No, you a little
I would
boy.
boom
All right,
you.
hold
Well,
on, y'all. Hold
You
on,
a
hold
little
on.
Man, bro, I thought this was a
You're
clean one, man. I thought this was
you a
sexual.
little
clean.
boy.
shit, we
You a
got
little
nasty real
boy.
quick.
Hold on,
And
This
I
is the
Khalil. Hold
shit
on, hold
too
on.
raw be talking about. This is
Hold
what
on,
too raw be
hold on,
talking
hold
about.
on.
That's that
Pootie,
emotional
Pootie.
shit.
All
Hey,
right,
cause
Pootie.
Oh
he ain't
man.
got his own
Pootie,
lingo.
stay locked in, Pootie. Now,
Use
you
your
said,
own talking points, Pootie. Don't be stealing people's stuff, bro. You
yeah,
talking about
yeah.
too raw and Brian sexual? Come up with your
Hold
own
on. Now,
lingo, dude.
Pootie, you said, here's the problem that I have. You said that you've labeled LeBron James as a bad leader because of what you've seen on the floor, but you've only given me maybe one or two examples from a 20-year career. So what are the things that you see most consistently, like almost every time you watch a game? And what are the things that you also hear other players, like things that you've also heard, we received confirmation from other players, other coaches have said these things. What are the things that you are hearing out there that align with some of the things that you're seeing about LeBron being a bad leader? Give me some of those.
Bro, it's the eye test for me.
And then with your eye test, because I know you said that about your eye test. Now, double down on that. Now, what other pieces of evidence, testimony from players, coaches, does anybody else that are close
I'll
to
help him
LeBron
out.
James support that sentiment?
I'll help him out.
No. Let go. Pootie got it.
Teammates are gonna have different opinions on that.
But do you believe teammates might have a better opinion of it?
Sometimes that may be true. You know what I'm saying? But it's the perspective of the fans that matters. I'm not saying it matters more than the teammates say, but that matters.
No, the perspective of the fan matters. But the problem with the fan perspective is that you only get a glimpse of about 5% of what's actually going on.
Exactly.
And so with you looking, this is why I tend to, before I make a decision on something like this is why I do the research. What are the players actually saying? Those players, they give you a glimpse of what's going on behind the scenes, the work that's getting put in before the games are played, what's happening in practice, how are these teams getting so good, right? When you talk about like Matt Barnes, when he alluded to just last year when the Lakers were struggling and bad, but then he came back and said, I was wrong. Yeah, he said LeBron James, like from when he did his research, he was basically saying that from what he was hearing in that locker room, LeBron James was still being a great leader. He was still trying to lift up those guys, even when they weren't playing so great. But I mean, so that's what I'm saying. What supports your feeling? Because you have a feeling, but what supports it? What evidence supports it? Because if you actually did research, there's no real research from other players or coaches that support your feeling. So why you so stuck on your feeling? Is it hateful LeBron, or what's going on there?
See, people always accuse people of just hating on this man. That is not the case.
No,
I never said. All right,
I'm asking you a question. I'm not accusing.
Listen, all I'm seeing is that he has good leadership qualities and he has bad leadership qualities. Every leader goes there. It ain't just LeBron, it's Kobe, Mike. Mike has some bad leadership qualities, but he does have good ones. Same thing with Kobe, same thing with LeBron, Steph, Bird, Tim Duncan.
So are they all bad leaders?
Wow.
No.
Okay, so why when you just admitted they all have those bad qualities from time to time, why do you label LeBron as a consensus being a bad leader, but the other guys aren't?
He shows it too often.
Like what examples, Pootie? Could you give us some examples?
Just
Bro,
one.
It's out there.
No,
Such as,
okay,
I will give you a prime
Let
example.
me
I'll
give
give
you
you a
an
prime
example.
example.
Let me give an
The
example.
Celtics. The
Hey,
Celtics.
Lamont.
I get
Hey,
it. The Celtics, such as when the Lakers went up against the Celtics. I get it. The refs cheated him, and I would be mad too. But bro just threw himself all out the floor and having a whole temper tantrum. You know, teammates see that and pick up on that, right?
well, the teammates were doing it too, Booty.
Exactly.
I
They're
didn't
pulling
Pooty.
out
I ain't
the
seen him
team.
do it.
They're not.
Plus,
They're
Pooty,
Everybody
pulling.
pulling out
all
cameras.
season, Pooty.
Okay, hold on. But Pooty,
For all season, they ain't been getting calls.
hold on, but Pooty. I mean, here's the problem with what you're
That's a
saying.
lot.
I think Pooty, you're
Nah,
again,
check it.
Pooty. Here's your problem, Pooty. You sound as if you're mixing things that could be considered bad sportsmanship with bad leadership. And again, when Larry Bird walked off and didn't shake anybody's hands, and when the Pistons did it, that's bad leadership,
No
man.
one.
I mean,
Yes,
that's
it
bad.
is.
That's
Yes, it
bad
is.
sport. That's bad sportsmanship.
No one said a word
But
about
nobody's gonna walk away from those situations to say Isaiah Thomas is a bad leader or Bird is a bad leader because of that. The leadership is something completely separate. Because I think all great competitors can show bad sportsmanship at times. I don't know if I can consider that bad leadership. All competitors, that just happens sometimes. The way LeBron reacted, you could maybe define that overreaction as bad sportsmanship. I don't know if I define it as bad leadership. It's how you define it, but I think you're mixing up a number. You're mixing with losing,
The
sportsmanship,
lines
and you're
is
trying to
blurred.
throw it all in the same box with leadership. And I just think they're all different things. But
it. Hey,
Another thing I have is like a quote that he
Hey,
said.
hey,
let
He was
me
in
Lamont.
his
let me get to
Instagram.
hold on. Let me get to B's real quick. My
All
bad,
right.
Pooty.
Hey, what up,
Salute,
Lamont? What
B.
up, Khalil? What up,
What up?
everybody?
What
What
up,
up,
B's?
B?
What up, bro?
Hey, man, I just come in here to ask you why you keep getting the opinion. Why you keep answering these dude questions, bro? I mean, he makes statements and he can't articulate himself well enough to even support his statements. He has no
Because he watched
credibility.
people like Two Raw for TV, and what was the other one you quoted? What was the other
Right.
guy
But
he just quoted?
I'm just saying,
It was
if you're
ticket, but
gonna
you don't want to smoke with either one of them.
Man,
hold
shut
on,
up.
hold on, if
You sound like
you're gonna
a
make,
ticket section.
oh no, hey Khalil, come on, bro.
Hold on,
You
Khalil.
can make any statement about any player that you want to, bro, and you're okay to have the opinion you have. But when someone asks you why, and you can't give a concise and clear explanation, you sound dumb, bro. So can you please explain? Can you please explain to me what leadership is?
You talking to me?
No,
Yes.
I'm talking to the dude behind you.
Yo,
I don't know if I would call New York City a zoo, but anyway, leadership is actually leading your team and getting the troops past the good times, the bad times, the hardships, and the tribulations, so y'all could be successful at the end of y'all season, or at least come close to that. Leadership is also guiding your teammates, helping them become better at their games, and giving them strategies that they can use in the future. That's leadership.
Sound like a
Okay,
coach.
let me
That
ask you.
sound like a
Let me
coach, boy.
let me ask you a
What are
question.
you talking about?
Strategy.
This guy.
What should all great leaders be good at, bro?
Leading teammates, duh.
No, they should be great followers. If you can't follow, you can't lead.
Yeah.
See, the problem with your statement is you're trying to take some basketball things and equate it to winning, or equate it to what you have seen with your eyes to be leadership. Do you got a father, sir? You live with your father?
No, he lived with two
See,
women.
why does it gotta get personal?
Hold on,
Why
hold
does it
on,
gotta
hold
get
on,
personal?
hold on, Khalil.
I'm not getting personal, bro. I'm asking you a personal question. Did you live with your father?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so your father exhibits leadership to you, right? Growing up as a kid, right?
Yeah, he did. He did.
But you still made mistakes, and so did your father. Did that mean your
Yes, we
father?
did.
So does that mean your father don't have leadership skills?
Nope.
but you will take another man's journey and you'll break that down and say he not a leader though, right?
I ain't say LeBron wasn't a leader. Never said that. All I said is that his bad leadership qualities kind of outsmudged the good ones.
Which is not.
That's all I said.
Quit saying leader. Quit say bad moments.
So would it
the whole
surprise
thing.
you? Hold on, Pootie. Would it surprise you that LeBron James is so smart that he got all you haters that's in the world on basketball, YouTube, making him money? See, what Two Raw don't realize, Two Raw makes money off criticizing LeBron. So does Ticket. So does
What are you talking
everybody.
about? They criticize everybody. What are you
Bro,
talking about?
Boy, you was a jock snip. Never mind. Go ahead.
What I'm trying to explain to you is that the real elite guys that know how to make money, like Floyd Mayweather, LeBron, they know how to use their supporters and their critics. See, you pushing the narrative that you don't even understand. So you keep pushing it because LeBron keeps profiting off of it. Too Raw, LeBron's profiting off of you. You don't even know it, but you just keep pushing that narrative. That's how great of a leader he is. He got you paying him, and you don't even know you paying him. You fool.
He getting emotional, y'all. That's just what
He's not getting emotional.
I'm not emotional, bro. I'm just telling you the facts, bro. It's a dumb argument.
I'm gonna make that boy go hug his daddy and tell him he's sorry.
And he told me his daddy lived with him. I don't believe that. I think your son.
I don't either.
Oh, not.
How would y'all know? How would y'all know?
I mean, honestly,
Y'all gotta start getting
Pootie,
personal with the man.
Pootie,
Man,
I
let the
would,
man have an opinion, bro. Let him have an opinion. You ain't gotta sit there and get personal with him, dog.
ain't nobody getting personal with him.
Hold on, we didn't.
Was doing is schooling him because he misguided.
Let me get Slim's opinion on this because Slim hasn't chimed in. Go ahead, Slim.
Let me just say this, man. I don't know anybody on this panel personally, so I don't have no personal attacks, agendas, or anything like that with nobody. I'm just saying, just because a man or a woman, in any case, doesn't come in agreement with you based on what you think or how you feel about anything, that doesn't mean that, they have to be chastised or somehow degraded. And that's the same thing y'all are accusing him of doing to LeBron. Y'all are sitting here doing to him because of his opinion. That's one. That's that. He can take care of himself, though. He's a man. He can handle his own.
He a boy.
But as far as my opinion on LeBron's leadership, every great player is a leader. It's not a question of is he a leader or not. Every great leader has good qualities and bad qualities. It's just that you got people who support LeBron. They highlight his good qualities. A lot of guys that don't support LeBron, they'll highlight his bad qualities because they just fall on one side of the fence or the other. That's really what it comes down to. I don't like LeBron as a competitor. I don't have nothing personal against that man as an individual. So when y'all start talking about the schools, foundations, charities, and all that other stuff that he does, family man, any man should be a family man. You shouldn't be praised because you're a great father or a great man. That's your job just as a man in life. Whether you white, black, Asian, Hispanic, don't matter. You shouldn't be praised for taking care of your kids. You're supposed to take care of your damn kids. You know what I'm saying? So if you got to be lifted up for doing stuff that's just automatic, that's an issue. You're now worshiping a man. You're not really respecting a man. You're idolizing a man. And I already have a God. LeBron James ain't my God. You see what I'm saying? I don't owe him no praise or no worship beyond, his athletic ability as a fan of the game. You see what I'm saying? And I think we get all of us on both sides, critics and supporters, we don't understand that we all blur the lines. Because some of us that support him, we go over the top. Like he's supposed to be bowed down to and literally worshiped. And if anybody doesn't fall in line with that, they're just hating. And then there's others that hate on him, that they come out with these comments. He's a bronzexual this, he's a bronzexual that. It's one, you're on one side of the fence or the other. But if you step outside of the emotion, just look at him as a basketball player. If that's what the conversation's about, he's one of the in my opinion, he's in my top 5. You know, whether I like him or not as a competitor, I just don't respect his competitiveness because I think he's too comfortable with defeat. You know, when you compare him to the other great players,
How's
not
that
as
nonsense
a
measurable?
player.
Lamont, that's
Huh?
what I'm talking about. How's that nonsense measurable? He's
What do you mean? How's it measurable?
how is his comfortability or
Another cap.
him not being comfortable? How's that measurable?
What do you mean? How's it measurable?
It's
What
not
do you mean?
measurable.
That is a fair
It's
question,
not measurable.
Slim.
What are you talking
That is-
about?
that is-
Okay. Let me make sure I understand your question. You're saying how is his competitiveness and his comfortableness with defeat? How is that measurable?
Is it yes? How is that measurable?
Okay.
There-
All
is
right.
there-
I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna explain because when you accept defeat the way that we've seen LeBron do, right? Like for instance, I'll give you a perfect. I'll give you the most recent example I can remember. Game, I think that was 5 against Phoenix a couple of years ago when they got bounced out of the first round, right? Game 5 against Phoenix, you're down 9, bro, with like a minute and a half left. And you could see the defeat come across his face. You could see the effort. And they said on live television.
Oh, kind of like Michael Jordan in 1995 Eastern Conference.
Hold on. We're not talking about Mike. We're talking about.
What are you talking
Kinda
about?
like that.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. You
Hold
asked
on,
me a
Lee.
question.
Lee, let him
me
finish.
answer.
Lee, let him
You
finish.
asked me a question. Let me answer. So that's one example, bro. It's the competitiveness that people want to see. They want to see you go out fighting, bro. And too many times compared to people like Mike or compared to people like Magic or Kobe or Larry, any of the other greatest players that we consider the greatest, when it comes to Bron, he just more often than those guys, we have seen that man quit when the game was still available to be won, just like in the overtime against Golden State when J.R. Smith messed up.
Well, hold on, Slim. Let me.
You guys are some idiots.
Slim.
This dude's stupid as fuck.
Yeah, we only stupid. We only stupid because
No,
we're
you're
not
stupid.
in agreement with you, bro.
You're an idiot because you're wrong. It's not measurable. It's not measurable.
Hey, hold up. Let me. Hey, Slim.
Go ahead, Pootie.
You know what? You
go
started
ahead,
off great. You started off great, bro. And then you ended calling everybody an idiot and stupid. So everything you got up here on your soapbox a while ago and said about this, that, and the other, you oppose it, bro. The fact of the matter is you the very thing you said we doing, right? You watch the man play 5 games. You watch him play 5 games. And within the last minute and a half of the 5th game, he accepted defeat because he was beaten. Only a crazy person keeps trying to drive his head through a wall when you can't change the outcome. See, the part that you're trying to say is that you're expecting LeBron to be greater than any player ever, to overcome any odds, and he should keep trying and trying until he gets it done. Well, let's take Mike for example. I watched his whole career. I watched him do that his whole career, and Mike didn't win until he had the best team. Why don't we say that?
I know that. It's a fact. I saw both of their careers
hold on,
too,
bro. When Kobe quit, because you use him as an example, I've seen him quit on the court. Guess what? He didn't have a good enough team. So there are times when players are put in situations that no matter what they give, it's not going to be enough. And what you're saying is for LeBron, you're saying for LeBron because you've seen all those opportunities. See, you didn't see it with Mike. You didn't see it with Magic.
That's a lie. I saw Mike's whole career, bro. You don't know what I've seen, what I haven't. I'm older than you probably think I am. But I saw Mike's whole career. I saw Kobe's whole career. I saw Bron.
So how old are you?
I'm 43.
Hey, bro.
You know what I mean? I was born in 1979, bro.
Bro. You saw Michael Jordan in his prime when he was winning. You're 43 years old.
Dog,
can I speak real quick?
Anyway,
I got you, Omar. Hold on.
Hey, let me finish what I was saying, bro.
Go ahead, man.
My point to you is that You have seen LeBron James overmatched more than any superstar in the history of basketball. Is that a true statement or false?
No, I only saw him overmatched more than anybody else on two
Oh,
separate
okay.
occasions. On two separate occasions.
No, you did
Okay,
not. That's
okay.
not
Michael
measurable.
Jordan, when he was getting swept by
Hold
the
on,
Boston
bro.
Celtics, bro, he was overmatched.
Bro, stop.
What about Michael
Tell him.
Jordan getting swept?
Tell
Thank
him.
you,
No,
idiot.
stop. That what you said cannot be possible. You can't go to the finals 10 times and be underdog 7 and not
No,
be
that's the
overmatched.
media. That's the
Bro,
media putting
stop.
in built-in
It's not the
excuses.
media.
Stop that,
I
bro.
gamble a
Man.
lot,
Cook him,
bro.
son.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, what you're saying is not true. It's not
Okay,
true.
I respect your opinion, but I'm just saying,
No.
I can agree to disagree with you.
Hold on.
No, because you're wrong.
Hold on. My thing, I wanted to ask Slim this right here because Bees made a good point. Hold on. Let me mute. That's Blue Boat. Let me mute Blue Boat. So Slim, my thing right here. So you say you believe that he's quit. Okay. And my thing is from your perspective, you say you watching his body language in 10 and 5-second clips from
I didn't say nothing about
TNT.
body language,
No,
bro.
hold on. But whatever metric you're using to determine that he quit is coming from through a TV screen. That's what you're using. Now, all I ask is for people to do real research because the TV can give you a perspective that can have you walking away with a bad take. This is why I say, now, you have your perspective about him not being a great leader. Is that supported by anything that any player or coach has said publicly? When I played those interviews with players from Corver to Kuzma to J.R. Smith to Amon Shumpert to Dudley to his coaches Ty Lue, Spoelstra, even David Blatt said he was a great leader. I mean, I can go Matt Barnes.
Never said he was
The problem with some of y'all sentiments is y'all say that it looks like he's not a great competitor. But when you heard Caruso and all these other guys talk, one of the most consistent things that all of them said, he is a ultra competitor. And so now
compared to them,
hold on, Slim. Now I'm at a crossroad because now I have people that were on the court, in those huddles, in the locker rooms, in those games, in those moments with LeBron, saying that he's an ultra competitor, and you, through your TV screen, refuse to accept them as being credible, and you want to go with your
Are you
own.
that desperate to make a bogus argument?
No,
Are
it's
you
not.
that?
Hold on, Slim. Hold on. I'm gonna let you go after this.
You.
No, all I'm asking, Slim, because the whole point of this is for people to actually do real research and not rely on the misconceptions that you are given through a TV screen.
All right,
That's all I'm asking. And so,
hold on.
My question to you is, you said you're 43, so I'm assuming that you've heard a lot of takes. What have you heard from players and coaches to support what you've seen through a TV screen?
I've heard Kevin Garnett out of his own mouth explain how they broke LeBron's will during that Boston series. Hold on. You asked me a question. Let me answer it. I've heard everybody knows about Eddie House going on First Take and all that and talking, or I think it was Undisputed, not First Take, but they know that Eddie House may come to the past. He's had people that have come out and said things about him. I'm not saying the man has never been a great leader or that he's not even a great leader. I'm saying we speak as though he's the only person that has ever had teammates or coaches or former players speak highly of him. He is not. So when you compare him to other great leaders, all I'm saying is he's not as respected and he does not come across as the standard that y'all are begging everybody to accept. He's not the standard, bro. Now he's the best leader in the game today. If you want to limit the conversation to today, I can give you that. But when you try to take, what happens is if we don't bow down to this man as though he's the greatest at everything ever compared to the history of the game, y'all are taking offense like we're committing some type of treason up in here. or some
Boy,
type
that
of
Charles
blasphemy.
LeBron
And
hate
so what
slowly
I'm
creeping
saying is,
out.
because
Hold
what
on,
happens is
hold
when you
on, but
start name calling, if
Slim,
you
Slim,
notice the whole time I've been talking, I
Slim.
ain't
I didn't
called
name
one person
call.
a
I didn't
single
name
name.
call Slim.
No,
But
I'm just
Slim,
saying.
but
Go
Slim,
ahead.
what you've done right there is you've evaded the question.
Thank
And
you.
so all I asked was this, because I have Kevin Garnett's statement right in front of me about
Who
what
was
he
he
said.
talking to when he
Hold
said
on,
it?
hold on, Slim. Now, I'm going to read it to you in a moment. I'm going to put it on the screen to do you better. Now, I have a statement from Kevin Garnett specifically talking about LeBron James's leadership that he displayed in their series and his experience as a competitor against LeBron. Now, what I'm asking is, obviously, you remember his statement about him talking about how they were able to team up as a big three and defeat LeBron. And he says they broke him, which when you talk about being defeated on the court, losing, I don't conflate that with being a bad leader. All leaders, anybody that can be considered a leader has been broken or beaten by another or better team. That does not take away from the fact, like right now, you're mixing in the GOAT conversation. Nobody's trying to force you to make LeBron the GOAT. Nobody's trying to force you to do anything with LeBron that you don't want to do. I'm saying if you're going to have this stance that he's a bad leader, what are you using to support what you're seeing through a TV screen? And you said Kevin Garnett, but at the end of the day, I'm looking at a statement from Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett where they are both specifically alluding to LeBron James being one of the greatest leaders in NBA history. Not just no minimal standard, one of the greatest in NBA history. And this is coming from an ultra competitor in Kevin Garnett.
Now that's the third time you tried to tell me what I said and what I'm claiming. I did not claim LeBron James is a bad leader. I said, like every other leader, they have great qualities and they have bad qualities. And when compared to other leaders in the history of the game, the other great players,
what leaders?
He is not at the top. He is not at the top of that list, like the Magic Johnsons, like the Larry Birds, like the Bill Russells, like the Kobe's even, like the Jordans even, like the Tim Duncans. He
was
does not
Kobe a bad
compare
leader
as
for
a leader, bro.
being a bench warmer the
He
first 3
doesn't
years of his
compare as a
career?
leader, and they all lead different. No two people in the history of the game lead exactly the same way. So it's not about how they lead. It's about in the moment of truth, bro. Does your team look at you as the guy that says, all right, in this moment right now, JR just fucked up. All right, we got 5 more minutes left in this game. Is your team able to look at you and draw confidence enough to fight through the last 5 minutes of that game to pull that victory out? Even if you lose the game, does your team have enough confidence in you to continue to fight? Or are they going to follow you to just shut down and fold because the play went wrong on the last second of regulation? That's a mentality issue, bro. And that's one quality of leadership. That's not all of leadership, but it's one quality that in that case was highlighted with LeBron. Just like one quality in Kobe was highlighted against the Phoenix Suns when he stopped shooting. Just like one quality was highlighted with MJ. Just like one quality was highlighted. You could go down any player in the history of the game and find one quality that is considered a flaw. I'm just saying with LeBron, we have seen it on multiple occasions. We saw him quit against the Celtics, against the Big Three. We saw him quit against Phoenix in Game 5 when they got eliminated. They said it on national TV.
Just because they said it doesn't mean the truth.
Oh my God! Let the cap begin.
No, what you're trying to do is you're trying to play. Okay, let me just say this and I'll be done. What y'all are trying to do as LeBron fans is y'all are worse.
Paul Pierce is actually my favorite player of all time.
Let me explain
Paul Pierce
this.
is my favorite player of all time.
Y'all are worse than the Rodney King lawyers at the trial that were defending those cops. You're trying to tell us what you're seeing with your own eyes, you're really not seeing. That's what they said.
All right, so anyway, this is what the clause LeBron they got nothing to stand on.
Slim cooking, real talk.
This is crazy.
Yeah, y'all are trying to convince us, hey, what you see is what you really not seeing.
No, you're just wrong.
What we seen is what we really not seeing. Is that what you said? You standing on that statement? What we seeing is what we not seeing.
Is when we see LeBron fans, I'm sorry, not LeBron's. When we see LeBron fans try to mandate to the entire world, you have to be in agreement with us, or you just don't know basketball, or you're just not a real fan.
But nobody mandated you to do anything.
Hold on, Slim. Hold on 1 second.
Slim,
Slim, here's the problem. First of all, I think this is your whole take, because you again, like B said, you started off kind of okay.
Okay, because y'all
hold on,
agreed.
Slim. Hold on, Slim. Because
No.
you over
No.
talking right now just shows an element of your emotionalism in this. And I've sat here and listen. Here's the problem. Everything that you said, I've just told you it's from your vantage point from a TV screen. And that gives you maybe a glimpse of about 1 to 2% of what's actually going on the floor. You say that he quit against the Celtics. Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce don't have that same sentiment. When you say he quit against these teams, how come these other teams don't feel the same way? You said Kevin Garnett said that they called him not a good leader. That's not true. If he wasn't a good leader, then they wouldn't have. Kevin Garnett wouldn't have said that they needed a super team to take him down. But I mean, I've heard your take. I want to move on to other people, but
I would too, man.
Hey, Lamar, can I say this real quick, bro?
Hold on,
When you
Slim.
get done?
Nobody's asking you to label LeBron as the GOAT, and you keep conflating this.
I'm not talking about the
Hold
GOAT
on,
right
Slim. Hold on. You keep mixing up what we talking about with us trying to force you into being a LeBron fan, and then you claim everybody on here as LeBron fans when I know not everybody on here are the biggest LeBron James fans. I'm specifically talking about. Hold on, Slim. Hold on. I'm specifically talking about the intentional lies that are pushed through the media about LeBron, because people, like what you've done is you take the small portion of what you see through a TV screen, you attach it to aggregate media stories like you did with Kevin Garnett, and you didn't even read the full story, because in that same story, Kevin Garnett called LeBron James a great leader, and you try to take snippets and piece together something to tell us he's not a competitor, and being a competitor is part of what I think is being a great leader, and you've completely warped and mixed up what we even talking about with misinformation.
So let me ask you this, Lamont.
Hold on,
LeBron
Slim.
come back
Hold
from
on,
3-1?
Slim.
Did I
Slim,
see LeBron James come back from 3-1?
Slim, hold on, Slim. I've let you get your point. I just feel like you've gotten so emotionally tied into thinking that people are going to label you a LeBron fan that you can't even give a real take. All I've asked is double down on your take with actual facts. You've given me more moments of you watching the game from a TV screen as your facts. That's
so
not
when
factual.
I watched him come back from 3-1 and beat Golden State, are you telling me it didn't happen because it came through my TV screen? Are you telling me that he didn't beat the Detroit Pistons?
Slim. I just told you specifically.
So you're trying to
Slim, hold on. Slim, hold on.
Dude, man, because you let the host talk like that.
Slim, here's the thing. I've already said losing isn't bad leadership. Everybody
I'm asking you, is reality that comes across the TV
everybody
screen,
loses.
reality?
Slim, everybody loses.
We're not talking about wins and losses.
Hold on.
Let him talk.
Because at the end of the day, you haven't even mentioned him coming back from a 3-1 deficit in the playoffs.
I just did. I'm asking you, is that reality?
You didn't mention, because the thing is, all of these minute moments where you could talk about his playoff failures, he has more playoff successes than failures.
His successes just as real as his failures or not?
So Slim, my whole thing is, like I said, I feel like your hate for LeBron is just coming through, and you're just a very well disguised LeBron James hater that can talk good. So you remind me of like Fluent from Player's Choice. You're like a ticket TV that talks without cussing, and you try to disguise it under Black Power. That's what you've done, and it's really all fake, because all I've asked is for people, if you have a talking point, back it with factual evidence so that it at least sounds like you have a leg to stand on. Right.
Okay.
And for you to come out and go against when coaches like Ty Lue, Eric Spoelstra, Mike Brown, some of the greatest coaching minds in NBA history, have come out and said LeBron James is one of the greatest leaders in this game. But yet you, through your TV screen, limited access to NBA games, locker rooms, coaches, arenas. But you, from your limited perspective, say he's a bad leader, and you still push that narrative without doing any real research. Well, man, come on, man. That means you just really in denial, bro. That's what it sounds like, because you are not really doing real research if you watch a game and say he's a bad leader without doing any real research behind it. And I highly doubt you stepped on the NBA court and heard what a huddle sounds like, what players say in huddles, what goes on in locker rooms, college locker room, any locker room whatsoever. And
So
for you to
perception,
just
nobody's
dumb it
allowed to
down to
have a
what you see on
perception.
the TV screen is sad, bro.
So are fans allowed to have a perception or not?
I didn't
Based
say you're
upon
not.
this saying.
I said we all understand that fans have some
So
perception.
all I'm
I
sharing is a
said now.
perception.
I said, are you able to do real research
And bring
and
facts, bro.
and change your perspective if the research doesn't support what you see through a TV screen? Are you willing to do that?
Yeah, I am. If you
Okay.
got 30
And the
seconds,
problem is none of the research supports what you are
okay.
saying.
Okay, so when I talk about him quitting, is that a point that you want me to show physically on
No, what I'm
screen?
saying is now all you have to do is, I'm sure if LeBron James, a player of his magnitude, if he quit in this game, then there would probably be a ton of coaches and players from that game, at least one, double down and agreeing with what you said. But I believe you struggle to find one.
No, I'm saying that. Are you telling me that the perception is not a reality unless it's backed and verified by people who are actually
Well,
on the court with him?
it's your own reality, and then it becomes
So,
more credible
okay,
when you
and I'm
back it with
walking with that.
facts. Now,
Okay,
I'm
so
going to
I'm
put you
walking
on
with
mute because
that.
I got to get to other people.
Okay, go
But
ahead,
while
man.
you're on mute, I want you to go try to do some research that supports some of the claims that you're making, as opposed to you just telling us more about what you saw on TV. Because we all watched it on TV, and not all of us walked away with this weird perspective of him not being a leader, him losing, and then all of a sudden he's not a leader. But Jordan can lose and still be a leader. But Kobe can lose and supposedly quit games and still be a leader. But Isaiah Thomas and Larry Bird can be unsportsmanlike and not shake hands, and they're still leaders. So again, when you have a set of criteria just for LeBron and you're not willing to universally use it for everybody else, it's really just starting to show that your one agenda is that you just don't really care for LeBron very much. I got to get to Omar
Oh
because
my God.
Omar has been patiently waiting. I got to get to Omar's take, and I got to get to East Side. Omar, go ahead and take yourself. There you go, Omar.
Yeah, I'm here, man. Hey, shout out FYS Sports, hey man. So how I look at it, man, a good leader is somebody that provides purpose, direction, and motivation, right? So from LeBron's standpoint, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing somebody that's galvanizing his teammates throughout the years. I mean, you can say that across the board to any player, any great player, Kobe, MJ, etc. But I don't understand why people only highlight, when it comes to LeBron, why they only highlight the bad things that they possibly see. Why is it only LeBron? Why is it only LeBron's downfalls that you only pinpoint? Never want to pinpoint nothing good. Never want to say, you know what, 2007, he led his team to the finals. Nope, he lost in the finals. He got swept. Everything's always just the downsides when it comes to LeBron. Never the upside. With Kobe, my favorite player. Started watching that dude at 9 years old. And I started, branching over to LeBron and shit. They both have failures. They both have setbacks. That doesn't mean that either one of them is, I guess you could say, not as great as a leader as the other. We don't know. We're not in the locker rooms. We're not here. We're not Phil Jackson. We don't know. We don't know what they're actually saying in these locker rooms to actually grade their leadership on a scale. Like, how can you actually grade leadership? How can you grade it on a scale of 1 to 10? How are you going to grade leadership based on Kobe's career and based on LeBron's career? That's all I got, man.
And you know what, Omar, that's why I say when we try to balance it and say one player's more of a leader than the other, you're using a fake scale because there's no way to weigh it. You either just say they're a great leader or he's a leader or he's not a leader. When you do all this weighing and trying to say Kobe's a better leader or Jordan's a better leader, no, they just all led differently.
Hey, LeBron, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Hey, so look at it like this, right? Everybody, just think back, right? When you was growing up, if you're like early to mid 30s, right? I'm pretty majority of you in here, Kobe Bryant was your favorite player. Kobe was my favorite player, right? There's plenty of games late where I was like, damn, man, I'm gonna stay up late, watch this Laker game, whatever, 10:30 on the East Coast till probably 1 a.m. Now watch that dude game after game from, let's say, a span of 2000, 2010. That dude's always taking the last shot. Kobe always took majority of the time he'd take the last shot. But people try to make it seem like those situations are every single night. No, man, no. A close game or a game that comes down to the last shot isn't every single night. It's various. It's maybe like 10 games out of the year, 12 games out of the year. You know what happens majority of those times when I was watching my boy Kobe, my favorite player of all time? They lost. He missed a shot. Majority of the time, he missed a shot. Yes, he wanted to take the shot, and I commend him for taking the shot. But majority of the time, let's say there was 12 game-winning situations within a year for the Lakers, Kobe probably made 2 of them.
You
Just being real.
lying. You
He probably made 2
lying.
of them. He probably
You
made 2 of them.
lying.
Oh, let him talk, idiot.
So SFM, just let him finish.
SFM, bro. I'm not. Hey, I know
I
you're a
have
big
the
Kobe fan.
numbers right here. You're
I just started
lying,
watching.
sir.
I just started
SFM,
watching.
just let him
Lamont, man, you
finish.
got to get him out of
And I
here,
know
bro.
you a
You
big
got
Kobe
to
fan.
I'm
get
gonna let
him.
him
I'm a
finish. I'm
Kobe
gonna let him
supporter too.
finish.
Hey,
But I'm finna
SFM. I'm
cook
a
him
Kobe
after he
supporter
done.
too. I'm not
Yeah,
hating.
it's cool, bro. I don't care.
I'm not
Go
hating.
ahead, finish.
SFM,
I'm not
chill.
hating.
Man, shut up.
I'm finna put him on the skillet.
All right, go ahead. I'll let y'all go ahead. Go ahead.
So, who ranked number 2 in game
Nah,
winners?
it's my turn, bro. I
Nah,
appreciate you
nah,
coming
nah,
up, but
nah,
Nah,
nah.
man.
Hold
This
on,
it's my
my
hold
turn.
on.
I've been
turn.
It
sitting here
is
waiting,
East
bro.
Side. It is on East Side. I'm gonna let you get it,
You can
SFM. Go
cry
ahead.
about Kobe in a minute, bro. That's not even
Go
a
ahead, go ahead.
conversation, bro.
Light work,
Yo,
light
what
work.
about me? I'm here.
I got you, Blue Boat.
Y'all
I
all can
think
get
Blue Boy
cooked. It don't
was here
matter.
before me though. If you wanna
All
go
right,
ahead and go.
go ahead, Blue Boat. Go ahead, Blue Boat.
Oh, it's on me. It's on
My
me.
bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, you good. You good, little man. Salute to the panel. Salute to everybody, man. You know, pick up to everybody. Pick up to you, Lamont, man. You say, man, you know. All this fake outrage is just another example of crabs in a barrel mentality, man. You know what I mean? It's been going on for years now, man. You know, they see LeBron as this athlete. And because he didn't. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but Blue Boat, something's going on with your mic, man.
Oh man, I'm gonna come back in. I'm gonna come back in.
All right.
Give me a second.
Yeah, Blue Boat's mic was going crazy, man. That was sounding horrible. Go ahead, Eastside.
No, man. I think it's pretty clear he's a great leader. I mean, wherever you want to rank him as a leader, that's up to you.
Damn, sorry.
But nobody out, like you said, outside the locker room or that's around the team really got a clear 100% view of what he does or how he is as a leader. So I don't know how we decide when we want to take a player's word for it. It used to be law, and then soon as the player's voice started leaning a little bit toward LeBron, that kind of changed. But yeah, I usually tend to lean toward what the players think and see in these type of situations because I'm not there. I can only judge what I see on the floor as a player. So
No.
if the overwhelming majority of his teammates and people he played against saying he's a great leader, then I mean I can't argue against it.
And that's what I'm saying. It's just like for as much as I want to say, it's just like the narrative where people were saying LeBron's not clutch. The problem with that narrative is that the man has more game winners in the playoffs than anyone else in the NBA in NBA history. And it's like, so when you look at and that's where some of these bad narratives come from. Like people say these things, say these narratives, but then when you do your research, if the narratives don't align up with the real research, then you just have to change your perspective. Even if you saw LeBron miss 1 or 2 game winners, if he's still done it better than other people that you consider clutch, you just have to change your perspective. But let me get to SFM real quick. SFM, you get the last one of the day because as soon as you're done, I'm gonna have to get up out of here because I'm already running behind. I should have shut this down at 6, but go ahead, SFM.
Oh yeah. To respond back to the dude, I don't know what you was talking about. Kobe ranked second all time in game winning shots behind LeBron. Uh, Kobe has led the league in fourth quarter points more than anybody in NBA history 5 times, and LeBron is second all time to lead the league in fourth quarter points 4 times in the regular season. Kobe has led the league in playoff fourth quarter points 2001, 2002, 2003, 2008, 2009, 2010. So then every time he went to the finals, he led in fourth quarter points, except what 1 year. I think that was 2000. So his final clutch numbers are way better than LeBron. I didn't know that you knew this, but uh up until 2018, LeBron had 62 points in the finals. On 30% combined it in the fourth quarter, which was his final clutch number stats. Yeah, y'all can
SFM, what you
say
got on
play.
the topic, bro? What you got
Oh,
on the topic of today's
I'm getting
show?
to that. I'm getting to that when I bring up his final clutch number stats. Um, but we have seen time and time again, and it even showed through his final clutch number stats of him giving up and the team just feeling hopeless after he give up, bro. You feel me? If we just see time after time, a good leader does not leave Miami Heat that you still have a D Wade that was still making an All Star. You feel me? You and Chris Bosh, he was still making an All Star. You left Miami Heat because Eric Spoelstra had benched you in 2014 because Kawhi Leonard was embarrassing you when you had 7 turnovers in that game, and you was in what you only had. Stop calling me, girl.
She trying to
And
tell you
Kawhi,
stop capping, man. She trying to tell you.
nah, ain't no cap. It ain't no cap because Kawhi Leonard had locked them up game 3, and that's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
really
but
just
SFM, that's
it.
but
Hey,
everything
But
that you
SFM.
said,
but
Hey,
everything
as a
that you
Kobe
said
you
fan,
is
don't.
you really didn't really say much, man. All
What
you
does
was
it
just
have to do
doing.
with the topic
it
of
had nothing to
today's
do
You
with
you
show?
Yeah,
said
everything
Kobe
had
only
to do
hit
with
two
that. I
game
was trying
winners,
to
bro. You
tell
got
you, I'm a
cooked.
It
Kobe
don't
fan,
matter,
bro.
bro. What's cooking?
No,
I
you're
could list
not.
a
No, you're
bunch of
not.
Kobe's
You
failures,
don't
but what
sound
is that
like
gonna
one.
do?
Listen, bro. You can't tell me you a
SFM, what is
Kobe
that
fan.
gonna do, bro?
You can't
I'm
tell
just
me
trying to
you a Kobe
highlight that
fan. You ain't
I'm a Kobe
verified through
fan
me,
and a
homie.
LeBron fan at the
No, you're
same
not
time, and both of
verified
them
through me.
have failures,
You're
bro.
not verified through
Both of
me.
them
I don't
have
know about
failures.
you.
Was Kobe not a leader when he
You said
averaged seven
Kobe
points
had
per
two
game off the
game
bench as a
winners.
rookie, and he missed those 4 game winners
That's
in
not
the
being a
playoffs
bad
versus
leader.
Utah?
all
Coming off
right.
the
Was
Hold,
bench
hold
ain't a
on,
Hey,
bad
hold
Was
on,
leader.
Kobe not a
SFM.
good leader then?
hold
Hey,
on.
That's
can
Look,
I
not
say
that's
something
not
real
being
okay,
a
quick?
bad leader.
hold on, y'all.
That's
Look,
not
y'all.
being a
Look.
bad leader.
As much as I want to keep it
Was
going,
he a
I
bad
gotta
leader in
wind. I gotta
2011 when he
wind it
had
Let
down.
him
when
finish.
Dallas held
Let
him to
Lamont go,
17
bro.
Hey,
points
Let
in
look,
four
Lamont
look.
I
quarters?
flow.
didn't even get to
Hold
finish,
on,
Khalil.
Omar and SFM.
Can
I'm
you
sorry,
mute
y'all.
them?
I got to. I look, y'all. I would love to keep it going, but it don't sound like
I
they about to
cooked
wind it down.
Omar. I'm sorry.
I don't know if you cooked, man.
I
You didn't
did.
do
I
nothing,
don't know
bro.
if you
Like,
cooked,
see,
Oh,
man.
well, can I get more
SFM,
examples? How a bad leader?
No,
A
no,
leader?
man.
SFM,
We already
SFM,
on Nick
SFM. The only
Ballers
reason I'm
road.
Why y'all
re
get scared when I get
no
on here?
SFM,
Nobody getting
SFM.
scared, man.
I
You keep
said
repeating the same thing
I
over
said
and
in the
over and over
beginning,
again.
I only can go for 2 hours. I'm already 15 minutes behind schedule. I should have been on the road 15 minutes ago.
All right, well,
I wanted
Lamont,
to
can I
get a
tell you
quick
something?
live in.
Lamont, well, go check out my my live that I hosted on Mookie channel.
Oh,
You
I
know,
didn't know. I
it
didn't know
was
you hosted a live on Mookie
yeah,
channel.
yeah, and it's about 2 hours long, and people liked it, and I was really
Hey, no,
coming
hold
at
on.
LeBron.
SFM, are you gonna invite me
Hey,
on as a special
I'm
guest?
gonna see that.
oh yeah, I will. I was really coming at LeBron. I pulled out them numbers, some stats.
Yeah,
I
of
saw,
course you did.
ooh,
But that's all you good at.
Hey, tell him. I was, the overplay right in the background, Lamont, when you show like the picture of the I did all that. Did the whole nine.
Hey, who was the brother
I
talking
did
before?
all that.
Who was
It
the
was
guy
legit.
talking before
SFM is
SFM was talking?
wild, man. I
Hey
don't know
man,
what's
Who was
wrong with
that
him,
dude?
man.
just
This
go
dude is
check me out on
crazy.
there, man. I did my
Talking about
stuff,
me?
man. I
Hey,
did
bro,
my
what's
stuff,
your
man.
name that was talking before SFM was talking? What's
That's
your name?
Omar. That's Omar.
Omar.
Omar, you a true Kobe fan because a true Kobe fan can point out his failures. SFM, all you
Bro,
do
I was
I
just
is
do
that's
talk
all I
point
about
was
out his
trying to
look.
failures.
show.
You
That's
act
all
like
I
I
No,
was
act
you
just
like
don't.
trying to
Kobe
show
No, you
Percy.
don't.
I
SFM.
don't act
All
like
right,
Kobe
hey y'all.
Percy.
Look,
Yes, you
y'all.
do. You
Look,
do.
That's
look,
all I
look.
was trying to show SFM, bro. That I'm a Kobe fan, but
Hey,
I know Kobe's flaws.
hey,
I'm a
Omar.
LeBron fan.
Omar,
I
make
know
sure
his
you pull
flaws.
up again.
What's
Omar,
the
make sure.
difference?
Hey, Omar, make sure you pull up again when we
I'm
go
trying to
live. I
show
like
y'all
it.
that
I
I can
like your
hold my own on
perspective,
this
man.
shit. I can hold my own
Yeah.
easy on this shit.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that's a
appreciate you
real
pulling.
Kobe
I
fan.
appreciate everybody pulling up today. Omar, make sure you pull up again. SFM, we going I'm gonna let you get back on. Maybe we can go to head debate with you and Omar next time we pull up. If y'all pull up again on the panel at the
Hey,
same
bet
time,
we
man.
can do
That's
that.
cool. That's
But
cool.
it ain't really
Hey,
gonna go nowhere because I know all the Kobe stats, so it really don't
everybody
matter.
hosted
Ooh.
these streams. Oh, that's
We'll
crazy.
see. We'll see how it goes, man. But hey, look, y'all, I gotta shut this one down. I apologize for having to cut it short because I know more people wanted to cook on it, but I gotta get this one shut down. I gotta get on the road.
I respect.
But But hey, y'all, salute, man. Appreciate y'all pulling up, man. Let me go ahead and get y'all out. Salute SFM. East Side, salute Omar, man. Definitely pull up the next time you see us live. Slim as well. Salute to Slim for pulling up. Little flawed on the logic, but salute. And Pootie, we knew what Pootie was going to come on and say. Salute to Pootie as well. But, it is what it is. Like I said, man, this is not a channel where I'm jumping on one side for any particular player. It's about if you have a stance, just back your stance with real facts and testimony from players, right? That's why we have the merch, research purposes only. do your research first. If you're going to come in here, don't tell me that you just feel a certain way or you just saw it on TV. You do real research to support what you're saying so you can have a credible leg to stand on when y'all really do these debates. Otherwise, there's no way I could put you in a real debate because people are just going to ether you because you have no facts to really back up the things that you say. So again, salute to everybody pulling up, man. It was a great show. Like I said, we were able to contain it today. It didn't get too wild, man. It got a little ruckus for a little bit, but for the most part, it was pretty solid. So again, I appreciate all the guests that came up today and just kept it cool for a good conversation. But it's FYF Sports, man. Another great podcast episode. We're gonna be back tomorrow, man. Make sure y'all pull up for the live. But until then, it's FYF Sports, and we out.